Welcome to Sewing Street. I'm John Cole Morgan, and we've got the amazing Wendy Orlando in today. Really, really excited. Always a fun show when Wendy comes to town. Now, today, because you're here nice and early, we like to reward you all with a wonderful little early bird. Today, we've got these fabulous tartan fat quarters. They feel so amazing. You're getting 4 of these gorgeous tartans. They're going to be 45 centimeters by 55 centimeters, and they are just fabulous. Look at these. They've got the most gorgeous feel to them. Really, really special. Loving these. These are perfect for any of your home makes, making a nice little bag, you're doing little smaller projects. They're fabulous. Really, really good. And I just love the colors of them. So that was the first one. And then the second, this one's got a bit of a tighter one. Look at that. It's got a darker colorway to it. It's really special. And then we've got another one. Oh, they're so pretty. Look at that. And they're just such a great traditional, nice little teddy bear. That's a really good idea. Nice little waistcoat. Or also for kids' toys. You're always making little dresses and waistcoats and things for them. Now, this one is my favorite. The feel on this one is so, so special. It's got a nice little sort of woolly feel to one side of it. And I just love this. And I can just see this as a nice little sort of picnic accessory as well. If you've got a little dog jackets, oh, that could be really sweet. As it winter's coming, making your pet a nice little toy with these. They're really fabulous. And also we've got dog beds as well, but also we've got Wendy coming up with some fabulous little projects. These could make really good, those stuff your puff cushions. Those could be really good. Loving that. Glennis is saying good morning to us this morning. Lovely to have you. And I love the fact we're on Facebook Live as well. So your messages, as they come through, you can send them through and we can read them and hear them. It's fabulous to get your feedback. Thank you so much for doing that. Now, that is our amazing early bird. You're getting 4 of these fabulous, fabulous fat quarters for £5.49. And they're a really beautiful traditional colourway. So lovely. £1.37 each. Absolutely such a great price for these. And they're really, really pretty. Love those. Oh, and I'm hearing they're proving to be really, really popular. Already 10% has gone. I haven't even finished showing them to you. I do think this one's my favourite. The feel of it is so lovely. Wonderful, soft and silky. They're really good. They're really, really good. Now, the second thing I've got for you today, which we've never actually done a full demo on, is Odi Coat. Now, what Odi Coat is this wonderful little jar, and it's good for you to be able to make oilcloth out of normal fabric. You're making it water resistant, and it is so, so easy to use. Wendy's got some fabulous products coming up, and what might work really well with them is a lot of people might want to use the Odi Coat on them. So let me show you how this works. Now, on this piece of fabric that we had in our little scrap bag over there, you'll see that I've started. You'll see that this has changed colour ever so slightly in the middle. Oh, you might not be able to see that, but you'll see that there's a stiffness on the fabric from here. And like if I hold that there, you can see that's nice and droopy, but if I hold it there, it's gotten a lot more stiff. So this has got 2 layers of Odi Coat on at the moment. We had Alison Marion on a couple of weeks ago, and Alison did some beautiful kids' aprons with Odi Coat, and it was a beautiful gingerbread fabric that she used, and then she put the Odi Coat on it to make it completely wipe-awayable. So if you're making a product for a child who's going to be doing play or crafts or anything like that, it's designed then that you can just wipe everything off and comes off really, really easily for that. So let me show you how we did this. It's so, so easy. Now, I will say to you, we did do the first 2 layers outside. Don't do this in an unventilated room. You need to make sure that you've got a long, nice, airy room to do this in. I've done it in this little section here, and it is so easy. So you take this off. Now you're getting a huge amount in this jar. You're going to get a lovely little card that goes with it, and when you pour it, you can see it's quite viscous, so it doesn't just run out of the tray. So I just did that, and I then took the card. I didn't take very much. I took about that much, and then I put that onto the area. And all I'm doing now is put the lid back on. Oops. Ruining Wendy's set here. And all you do is you just take the card and you just smear that in to the area which I've already covered. Now, this is just a small area to use that we're doing, but now having the 3 layers on, what I wanted to show was the fact that it doesn't change the quality of your fabric, and I'm just getting a nice thin layer on there. Now you'll see the amount that I took out wasn't a lot, but if you look at how much I've got left over on there, it's more than enough to effectively dry that and then do a 4th coat on it. I'm going to spread this in just a little bit, and the more you spread it and the more you use the card, the easier it is for it to go through the fibers of the fabric and becomes more and more waterproof on that. And there we go, we've got that all now moved in nice and comfortably. And I'm just now making sure my card is clean by doing that. And all we do now is we get a trusty little hairdryer with a lovely Wendy thankfully had in her bag for us. I'm hoping you can still hear me. And all you're doing now, when I put this on, you'll see I've got a bit of scrap fabric underneath there because it does seep through a little bit. Because you're pushing it through all those fabrics, or all those fibers, it may come through. And all you do is you just use your hairdryer, or you just leave it out to dry on its own. Obviously, given the fact we're on air and we don't have that long to leave it, we thought using the hairdryer would be the best way. But you can see already that lovely shine that's appeared on it. But I think it was important to do this because a lot of people, when they hear Odi Coat or think of Odi Coat, you think you're going to put it on and you think it's going to crack or peel or come off, which isn't. And I have really enjoyed using this. And now I'm just going to feel it because oh, there we go, it's dry. It's a little bit tacky. I'm just going to dry it a little bit longer. There we go. So now I'm feeling pretty confident. Yes, that's nice and dry. And you can see now that that Odi Coat has gone on there. And you can still see there's a nice flow in your fabric. It still moves. It's very, very, it's not going to... Now, we haven't tried this, but I've got a little bottle of water. And the good thing is, now, we've only got 3 layers on here. I'm just going to get a little, I'm going to cut this little bit off so that I can, don't do this at home. So what you do now is you've got your water here and you just gently pour, obviously you won't intentionally pour it on, but look at that, the water just runs completely off it. It just shows you now, I've only done 3 layers and I've done it in a small area I've used, and you can see that that's now, you've got the water bottle, it's working absolutely so comfortably. Now you can see the fabric over here, underneath, it's now absorbed straight into the fabric. Now this is really, the reason I wanted to make sure that we showed this to you is we've done that. Now I'm going to use a bit of the dry fabric that we had here to mop that up. And, oh, I'm so glad I did this. Look at that. Now, once we've done this, oh, I completely wet the set now. Sorry, Wendy. Get that nice and dry. Oh, actually. There you go, Wendy. You've got a nice dry set for you coming up. Let me close my water. Now, you saw I used a tiny scoop of the Odi Coat to do this, but I want to show you what it has looked like where I haven't got Odi Coat. Look at how it's absorbed into the fabric there. But on the Odi Coat here, now you can still smush it up. It's absolutely fine. It's not cracking. And remember, I've only just used the hairdryer. I haven't let this dry for a long time. But you can smush it up. It's not cracking. And just look how perfect that is. It's not in any way damaged your fabric. And the great thing is you can see where I didn't do it, it's completely wet. So it does work, and it is such a great product there. So $14.99 for that. I think this would be a perfect way of being able to use this with Wendy's project, so we'll get on with that. Now, yesterday, anybody who joined us knows that we had our wonderful competition for our Christmas Fat Quarter bundles. So I am very pleased to be able to announce the winner of that now. Boom, boom, boom. Moira Hurst. Congratulations. You've got £100 worth of Fat Quarters, all on its way to you today. Thank you so much for entering, and congratulations. Now, just to remind you before we get on with Wendy, I'm going to Oh my goodness. So, our early bird, let me just remind you what it is. We've got 4 fabulous fat quarters of this gorgeous tartan. Look at that. This is my favorite one because it's got such a lovely feel to it there. That's the first one you're getting. You're getting 4 of them in this. They're 45 centimeters by 55 centimeters. Perfect for any homewares project there. They are so, so good. 100 and, sorry, 100. These are £5.49. This is our second colorway there. Then we've got our third one here. They're really good. And the reason I'm re-showing them to you is 40% of the stock has already sold out of this. So when when a product's doing really well, we haven't even finished and got the guest on, and 40% of the early bird is gone. So please, I just need to remind you all to check out your baskets as you're going along. You won't pay any more or any less for the day. You're going to be paying $3.95 for that, so that is nice and easy to do. Now we're going to remind you how it is we shop while we get lovely Wendy on.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying 1 postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Welcome back, Wendy. It's
Good
so
morning.
lovely to hear you.
So
It's so lovely to
excited.
have you. Every time Wendy and I are on air, we always get into such trouble because she makes me giggle far too much, and I've got these apparently very naughty eyes that make her giggle.
Very naughty
I don't know what
eyes.
she's talking about. What have you brought us today? You always bring us the most wonderful things.
So excited about this one. This one is my baby.
Oh goodness, I'm
Yes.
so excited.
It looks very boring.
It's not boring.
It looks quite boring. There is a very good reason why it does look that colour. This is an all-in-one game bag. And yes, so there's games inside of this.
I
But
wish we could play with them.
I know, well, we can kind of virtually play. But I've designed it so that it can be taken to grandparents.
Hang on. You've designed it.
Yeah, I've designed this.
Tell me everything.
I've done all the
This is so
drawings. I'm so
exciting.
excited. And then I just sent it along to Tom and said, "This is what I want. Do your magic." And he's done the magic for me.
Wonderful. He's an amazing designer.
Absolutely
As
fantastic.
are you.
But yes, so they're all hand drawn by me. They're all my designs.
Divine. Which one's your favourite?
This one.
Oh, he's adorable.
He's my favourite.
That is very adorable.
Yeah, he's my favourite.
Oh, he's very sweet.
I think he's a bit like me, just a little bit. I know that I don't seem laid back because I'm always going 3,000 miles an hour, but when I'm not, I am really
Very
chilled and really laid back. So
wonderful.
yeah, he's my favourite. But these are all bugs. So this is a bug in a bag game.
Bug in a bag.
Bug in
what
a bag.
an amazing name.
Yes. And I've designed it for the busy mums that maybe want to take things on the go, but you don't want to take loads of board games. You just want to be able to pick this up and you can scrunch it up really small, just put it in the bottom of the buggy. Or if you go and see the grandparents, I know when my children were smaller, I would take the kitchen sink. And children, they come with you. You have to take so much for them anyway, like clean change of clothes and all that. And we tended to take a lot of colouring, but they get bored with that after a while. So this is designed so that all the nans and the grandpas can make this, and then they can just hang it up behind their coats on their coat rack when the children aren't
You
there.
have literally thought of everything.
I
That is
have.
amazing.
So would you like to see?
I definitely want to see.
So the first two are quite muted, and you don't have to make them like this. You can make it the other way round, so you have the outside on the inside and vice versa. So this is a playing games board. Then we have a
Noughts and crosses.
oh, so you're one step ahead of me, aren't you?
it.
And then inside you store all the pieces. Oh, come on, let's just get them out.
Fabulous.
Let's just get them out. So shall I just explain a little bit about the bag
Please.
before we do it? So I'm just going to move these so that Paul can get the angle. And because you're turning it, I mean, I've played with this loads over the week. Once you've turned it out, just smooth it. Smooth. The fabric is really nice fabric. The panel that it's made from is really nice fabric, but you might just need to smooth it out. So it's a 4-in-1 games, but it isn't, because as I've been playing it, it's like, oh no, and you can do this and you can do that. So the first thing that you've got is the blank side, and we're going to play, well, we can't because obviously socially distancing, but you can still, you get the gist of it.
Oh, it's memory.
It's the memory game.
Oh, how fabulous.
So you have two of the bugs, which are the little caterpillar and the little bumblebee. There's 5 of those.
Right.
So that's for another game. But if you want to, you can choose 2 of them just to play with this game, because it does work better with 8 pairs. So we've got, and as I say, these are all drawn by me.
Your good self.
Yes. So to turn them over, and you can fit 16 on the board.
Oh, Wendy, these are genius.
I do apologise if my tummy rumbles because I'm very hungry.
Me too. I really think this would work a lot better with bacon butties.
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was a bit worried you were going to say you were a vegetarian at that point. I think.
I do eat some meat. I don't eat a lot of meat, I must admit. So there is one that's gone for. Oh, there he. Oh, my favourite. My favourite went for a walkabout or a slide about because he's the slug, isn't he? And then again, that's all you do. You just turn them over and you match them. No match. So there is a little game sheet explaining the rules.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I will not be held responsible if there's any arguments, because there's always arguments with games, isn't there? But I have tried to make it fair. So you'll see in a moment the target game. If the beanbag lands on more than one space, then you choose the one where it's most of. But you can make your own rules. You can do. Yeah. So then you just keep playing, and this is great for small children because
they're tactile.
And
it's safe to chew if they need to.
But there is the game counter is quite small, so I have stated that it's not suitable for small children.
Yes. Yeah.
But as with anything, you just supervise them, and it's great fun to play with them. So more often than not, there will be an adult playing with them. So that's the memory game. But what I did think as well is if there's 24 tiles, but some of them are, as I say, repeating. If you gave like half each, then you could play Snap with it.
Oh
so that's another game.
That's a really
I hadn't thought
good
of that
idea.
one. But what you would need to do is, because normally, I don't know how you play Snap, we both turn the card over at the same time.
Yes.
It's probably best just to turn one and then one and then one. Because there is only one of each, it's going to be really hard to make a match. So that's another game.
I was going to wait until you did it. I kept going to find the match.
We're not going to get one now, are we? I think it's setting me up today. We're not going to get one, but that's why it's. Oh, okay.
Snap.
Right, to the last one. You win. But that's why it's better just to turn one over.
It's such a lovely idea.
So that's an extra game that I hadn't thought about.
That is really good.
And also you can interact with them. So you can talk about the different bugs.
But the great thing with this is that the more people get it and the more people play with it, they'll come up with their own ideas as well. And because of our
if they
social
do,
media
send
platforms,
them to me.
Exactly.
Let me know, please.
That's such a great idea.
And then we flip it over. And this is where the 5... the 5 come into play, because we're going to now play noughts and crosses. You go first. Where would you like? You can be the bumblebee. Middle. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go there.
Closest to me.
That was.
Up one.
I was going to say that was really wasted.
Down there.
Hang on. We're not going to do it, are we?
I haven't played this in years.
Well, that one's free. That one's free.
Yeah, nice try. Nice try.
Oh dear.
Oh wow! But it's such a great idea. I love this.
So that's the 2 outer games. But I say you can have them on the inner if you want the other side on the outer, and then all you do.
But you see, I love the fact that it's got the muted colours as well, because
That's
then
why I
all
did
of your
it.
pieces show up so nicely on it.
That was the reason, and also it's for all generations. If you've got an elderly relative that maybe their sight's not too good, because you've got a real big contrast between the 2, they're going to be able to play easy.
That's very thoughtful.
I've tried to make it.
That's really
think.
very, very thoughtful.
And then all you do, and just make sure that you pop the corners. And the way that I've done the zip, you are able to pop the corners because I've put extenders on the end of the zip just so that you can do that. And then these are my favourite
Oh, Wendy,
ones.
I'm so excited. Oh,
And
look
then you
at
just
that.
turn them out. And then on one side you have a target.
Oh, how wonderful.
Now, I have made beanbags for the target. They are quite large compared to the target. So when you
Fair enough.
throw it at them, then...
25.
See, that's what I would say, 25. But what I did think also, is that you could use these as well.
course,
Because
yes.
for the smaller children, they would need to use, but the older children, they could just, sit down. And then you could just...
Oh my goodness, that little caterpillar is the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, he's quite sweet. He was how it
So
all started,
cute.
actually, but he's my favourite. But again, you could play catch with this, and you could juggle. You could juggle.
I can't juggle.
Could you?
Nope.
I don't
Try it. Go on, Joy. I
that's-
can't believe we're going to get Wendy Orlando to juggle on air.
This could go to... Oh my God!
Wow! Well done!
So yeah, you can juggle with
What a
them.
great... So you've got 2 free games
So
here
again,
over and above what you've
yes.
already made.
So it is a 4-in-1, but already it's 7.
6. So
Six or
7, yeah.
7.
Wendy, this is genius.
And then my favourite.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, my favourite
That
is
is
snakes
so
and ladders.
sweet.
As I say, I have made 4 counters and they're reversible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine wanting to play 8 people on a small board. But what I have done with the other set is I've made them for 8 counters and then just backed 4 with plain and 4 with the material that comes on here.
Yeah. Because the borders, you get a lot of fabric. In
Yes,
those
I'll show you
borders.
those.
They're really good.
But I've only made 4, and then this is where this big bad boy comes in.
That's brilliant.
And again, I've also thought that this isn't for small children because they won't understand the concept of moving up and going up and down, but they can throw the dice for you.
Exactly.
If, the other children don't mind them doing that. Or if I were taking it out and about, maybe just buy small dice and then you can just leave this one at home because it does take up quite a lot of room.
Of course.
And you can make more bean bags if you wanted to, but obviously bear in mind that the bag is only a certain size. And then this I haven't made too complicated.
They're brilliant. Now let's see the panel. Let's see what
Right.
you're getting. So you're getting half a metre of the chartreuse to go with it.
Though for this panel, then this one comes with it because we wanted it to blend in with the tiles. So, and these panels are
That's a huge panel.
ginormous.
Has it got your name on the top? It has in the corner over there? No.
No.
Bugs in a bag.
And this is exclusive
huge,
to
yes.
Sewing Street. I have made it exclusively to
thank
Sewing Street
you.
for the moment, but yes,
Thank
it is
you.
for the moment. So you get everything is what you need on here. Apart from you need some stuffing for
Yes.
the dice, and I've used Thermolan. I am a huge lover of Thermolan because I don't know if you've used it, have you?
Nope, but I've seen it on air a lot.
It's like really thick felt. So
it feels beautiful.
it does, and you
Because a
can
lot of
work
people
with
use
it.
these for design walls as well, to hang your fabric on the wall.
It's brilliant stuff.
It's really good.
And you will get all this. When I say all of this, you only put it in certain areas, so you will get it out of a metre. And they sell that on the web, or you can use the H640.
Perfect.
I haven't used that one because that's just my favourite.
Well, I
but there's
suppose as
nothing
well,
to
it doesn't
stop
matter
you.
what you do, you're always going to have your preference. Yes.
Definitely. So you get the panel.
We have a problem. I'm really sorry, Wendy. We are already on limited stock on this item.
That just makes me burst.
And in about a minute or 2, it's going to be sold out. $19.99 for this kit.
Oh, bye. See you later.
Wendy's off. But honestly, please, this is a reminder, check out as you get them. If you are interested in these kits, please check out as you go. Oh, it's gone. We're going to have to pop that under the counter. Under the counter.
Should I put it down on the bottom shelf?
You can put it on the bottom shelf, but if you move my triangles, you're going to put them all back. However, if you have missed out on the original colourway here, we have a second colourway for you, which is our blue colourway.
I love this one.
Now, unfortunately, we're having a few little gremlins on the website. So this is $19.95, not $23.47. If you do type in the code, I'll read this to you. If you typed in blue bugs, you'll probably find it as well. But just in case not, if you type the code, which is N for November, L for Lima, X for X-ray, C for Charlie, 635, that will pop up. We do still have stock for that, and I'm really sorry, these gremlins do pop up every now and then. It is £19.99, it's not £23.47, and you're getting half a metre. Is that Copen? I think that's the Copen.
It's blue.
Or Cadet.
It's blue.
It's blue. Half a metre of the lovely blue. And then it's the same kit, just
exactly
in a
the
slightly
same, but in a slightly different colourway.
Slightly different colourway for the bag.
This one is very slightly lighter than, if I can put the other bag next to it. So
it's very slightly, yeah.
Very slightly. There's not much in it, but the tiles are blue on this one, where on this one they're green. So that's the difference.
Perfect.
And you can, if you want to, you can use it in a different way. You don't have to use it like I've done. So you could use the additional fabric on here for all of them.
Right.
But you have to be careful with this. There's not a huge amount of it, so just cut out your bits first just to check that you've got the fabric where you need it to go, because I thought it looked really nice with that little pop of colour around the outside. But that's the blue version. I think this is my favourite.
It's lovely.
This is my favourite one, this is.
And
But yeah, Tom has been very,
sold
very
out
patient.
within the first 5
oh my
minutes
goodness,
of it.
I am so excited. It's always a little bit scary because I love the product. I know it works.
You've designed it, of course.
I've lost every single game I've played this week. Once upon a time, I would lose to let the kids win. But
And of course, we've got you mentioned we've got the Thermolan as well. Got the Thermolan here. This is a metre, it's roughly a metre square. I think it's a
90 by...
metre by 90 centimetres. That's £5.99 for that one. If you would prefer the H640, that is back in stock as well. We've got the H640, which is £9.99, and this is a metre as well. Metre squared of this one. Sorry, I got confused between the two. This is a metre as well. This is £9.99, and then the Thermolan. We do also have these fabulous pellets. I love these.
They're
I got about
brilliant.
5 or 6 kilos of these wheats for different projects. They're brilliant. This is a kilogram of these wonderful tiny little pellets for £5.99, and I literally did buy 5 kilos of them this week for different projects.
They are
so
fantastic.
good.
I use them in all the door stops. They're brilliant because you don't need much. You just need enough to weight it.
Exactly.
And
the great thing is with the one P&P all day, $3.95, you're not going to pay any more or any less for that extra kilo of weight on that.
And if you have bought the kits and you have spent that $3.95, you definitely put it in your basket.
Yeah.
That is a silly price.
It's ridiculous.
It
I
is
don't know
a
how they've
silly
done this on
price.
the early birds.
That is
And
lovely.
they feel amazing. I'm sorry I can't let you feel
It
them.
is. But what I would do, I wouldn't use it in a block. I would put it with a contrast fabric, and you've got so many. I would probably do it with cream or maybe a red or a green, because that would just
See,
go
I'm
on.
really much into using black with a lot of
That would look
colours at the
nice.
moment because of the quilt behind you.
I can't really
Why?
because we have a dog.
Ah, yes.
So
Kitty
every
cats
time
and
you go
puppies.
near him, you're just white. So
Nothing wrong with that.
yes, I do. I mean, I am in dark today, but at home I try not to have dark on. But then the final game is the snakes and ladders, or it's not. It's caterpillars and branches. But you don't. I've done it so that there aren't too many things to hinder you or help you. Because when my children were small and we'd want to play a game before bed, I think I had one that had 100 squares.
That's always helpful.
It took forever.
Yes.
So this will be really quick and easy, just a quick before bed game. And then if you want to play another game, at least another child may get a chance of winning. So shall we get and make it?
Of course. Oh, yes. Right. We are unfortunately having several gremlins for the blue bag at the moment. We're really sorry about that. We are doing our best to get that fixed. These things unfortunately happen. It's always first thing in the morning. Easiest way of getting it sorted is if you do give our call centre a ring, 0800 001 4433, and just say we'd like the blue bugs bag. That will then get added into your order. And if you've already placed an order online, they will just add that to your order doing the phone on the phone. It's completely free to ring 0800 001 443. And it is £19.99, not £23.47. These little things happen. Thank you so much for bearing with us with that. We really, really appreciate it. Now, show us where
I
we're
know
going.
how it feels this morning. I absolutely know how this
Some
little
mornings
gremlin.
things just don't work, and we try our best. It doesn't matter what you do. You've just got to go with it.
The first thing to do, and you have got full instructions. I've done it again. It was like I did it with my bow the other day. How can I lose something I had 2 minutes
Very
ago?
easily. I do it all the time.
I've
Is
got,
it not in your fabric?
I'm just going downstairs. Hold on a minute.
I'm so pleased that your first time designing something and getting it on air, it's sold out.
I'm so excited.
That's
I was a little bit
wonderful.
nervous last night.
It is very nerve-wracking bringing something of your own out.
Because I love it.
I'm talking to you while you're supposed to be looking. No! Oh, is it over there?
Yeah. Can I go and get it?
Paul will grab it now. Thank you, Paul.
I was just going to show the instructions. I have put it somewhere.
That's all right. Is it in your grey bag?
Yes,
over
it
there?
is in my grey bag. Thank you. My
There should be
Mary
a whole
Poppins bag. There's like a bag of
massive-
them. That's
So
it. Just
while
get it all
Paul
out,
is
just
looking
get
for
it all
that,
out.
oh my goodness. So even with our gremlins, I'm terribly sorry to tell you, we are now limited on the blue bag. The blue bugs, we are now limited on that. So please do give the call centre a ring if you do want it. We're terribly sorry about the problems with the website. 0800 001 4433. Get that done as soon as you can and get that into your basket now. Now
Right,
show me
yes.
how we're going to make this.
So
This is so much fun.
So what's included in it is the panel and all the instructions and, as I say, the rules. You can make up your own rules. That's what it's all about. As soon as it's in your hands, you can do what you like with it. You just need to get, as I say, the wadding and the stuffing and the pellets. But a lot of people have already got those.
Yes.
You could probably stuff them with other things in the pellets. I wouldn't advise it because if you take this out and about with you, which is what it's been designed for, you don't want it to get damp.
Yeah.
And this will be great. Last night, we stayed last night and we're in a restaurant and there were some kids being very boisterous. Now, kids should be kids and I love to hear that, but they were so impatient because their food wasn't coming. And how amazing would this have been just to put it in the middle of the table and just play?
And the good thing is the size. You've been very thoughtful of the size of it because it is so compact. And because the bag is the game, it's perfect.
It is quite firm. I know you can't feel it, but it is quite firm. But
And
if
you use the Thermolan for
I use
that.
the Thermolan, and I've only done it on 2 of the sides. I guess you could do it on all 4 if you even wanted to make it a bit firmer. But you could always put a book inside it if you wanted
But the
to.
thing is, would you want it to be that firm though? Because you want it
You
to
want
still
to be
exactly,
able to
that's
screw it
exactly
up to put it in the
bottom
bag.
of the basket.
When you take but if we've counted at least 7, there's probably more. But if you were to take 7 games in the bottom of your buggy to grandma's, it would just be like this, wouldn't it?
And Granny would love you leaving all those behind.
Whereas this, just hang up on the peg
Exactly.
behind the coats.
And at that price, you can easily make 2 or 3 of them
and
as well
keep one
and
at
leave them
home.
wherever you are.
Definitely.
Wonderful.
So you do get the full instructions, and I'm quite a visual person. I like people to show me how to make
I
it.
agree.
So there's pictures of each step, what it should look like when you get past that step. And I'm very hands-on. If people, they shouldn't have a problem, but if they do get stuck, just message me and I'll be able to help you. But it is quite self-explanatory. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the dice.
The dice is so fun.
And
Now,
it's,
if you get these in the wrong order, does it matter?
I'm not going to say anything to you, but I mean, you know that the opposite side of a dice should add up to 7. Did you know that?
Did not know
Did
that.
you not know that?
I didn't.
Oh, you see, you've got to
But
tell.
now that you've done that, I'm thinking, yes, it does. 4 and 3,
6 is
2 and
opposite
5
one,
and 6
yeah.
1. Perfect.
So you need to tell me that's mine to you today. So you need to give me a little top tip today. So it show on here. It shows you how to lay the dice out so that you get them in the right order. So we have, as long as they're opposite each other, and that. So as we make the dice, then 2 is going to be opposite 5 and 3 is going to be opposite 4, and then
6
6
is
and
opposite
1
1.
and are the ends. So the first thing you want to do is you want to mark, and it's like anything, I think when I demonstrate the churches, you need to fit a square into a square. So to do that, you need to leave a quarter of an inch march. It does explain how to do that, but I'm just going to go with the foot that one today. So just
If you
mark
need that moved over, you need to just move it to 5.5 for a quarter of an inch.
5.5. I was doing 5 this morning. That's probably why it wouldn't work. So I'm going to. Oh, we've got a. Thank you for that. That's very kind. So has it got a cord?
It does. You go follow the white dots.
So
If you've
so
got 2
that's
white dots together, that'll give you 1 and 1. There in your left hand.
Yeah. That's bigger than a quarter, surely.
It's not. Creative Goods do the
Really?
exact quarter there with their
my
non-slip grip
goodness.
dottage.
Right. So all I'm doing here is I'm marking. Wow. Is just marking a quarter there. So you can see that I've marked it with the ruler, haven't I? Yeah.
Yes, you're very visual with
Yeah.
that way. I love it.
Perfect, lovely. I've marked it with the ruler on all of them. Because what you want to do is you only want to sew between those 2 marks and you want to leave the little bit at the end unstitched.
So it's a sort of Y seam.
Sort of, yes.
Sort of.
Well, it kind of is, isn't it? So now I've got them all out of order, haven't I? think I've been playing with those gremlins on the website this morning.
They come every now and then.
That's it. So the three's got to go opposite. So all we do is we place right sides together, and then I'm going to sew a seam between the 2 dots. Now I'm going to do a 2.4, 2.6, and move it up to 5. It's not going to matter a great deal if I'm a mill
It shouldn't, because you've got a dot to dot.
Yes.
As long as the dots are lined up, it won't matter, will it?
Definitely. It shouldn't. It's only going to be a slightly bit out. And then what I would do is I would do a reverse stitch each end, because you are going to be putting pressure on these. And I've sewn to the dot. So I've just sewn between dot to dot with my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I would put the next one on. And it does explain, it tells you to put the top to the bottom and what numbers to put on. Did you want me to make the complete dice? Have we got time?
Yes, we've got
time
time.
is running away today, isn't it? I haven't marked these, so they may be a little
You
bit
have.
out.
I saw you do them.
I picked up the unmarked ones.
But you've made so many of these, you know it by heart.
Mm.
You do.
And then 5. So then the 4 and the 3 and the 5 and the 2 will be opposite each other. And we're making them in a long line. Oh, I've marked 2 of them. That was silly, wasn't it? So
I thought that was actually quite clever that you'd marked 2 of them. It's just then the middle one you should have done as
exactly. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning.
well. We did offer.
I didn't have time. I was too busy playing with this, wasn't I?
It's very true, you were.
So now all we do is we join this one and this one together. So
So you're not pressing anything at this point? Don't need to, do you?
I wouldn't for the dice.
Perfect.
So
Well, I suppose as well, you're going to be stuffing it so much, you
exactly.
don't need to.
So I wouldn't. You can if you want to. Normally, you know, I say press everything, but for this one, I didn't. If you want to, it's down to you. Sewing is personal, isn't it, Paul? You can pull. Right,
It's
Paul?
all right.
That's okay. Sorry, Paul.
It's fine.
I'll be calling Paul John later.
It's all right, bracket.
I did have to go and have a look. I still didn't work out which one was bracket.
Well, you were calling Debbie Hinge, so you're obviously
yes,
bracket.
just my little
so-
hinge, yes. Now we've created a square.
Perfect.
And we need to put the top
Now
and
this
the
looks
bottom.
terribly complicated on how to
It's
do this.
really not complicated. Really, really not.
I'm
So-
guessing you are going to imagine your dots now, or you're going to create dots.
Oh, I created
Well, no, I
dot
think-
for you. See, I created
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm
dot.
terribly sorry to announce we have officially sold out of both of these kits. Wonderful, congratulations. We will speak with management to see if we can get some more added in at a later date. Really sorry we didn't have enough. We didn't expect to be as phenomenally popular as it is. Not even a half an hour into the demo and they've all gone. Congratulations if you've managed to get it. Thank you so much for your support and well done.
I think it's the space-saving idea with
It's all,
everyone.
it's every single aspect of it. It's everything. It is such a good idea.
But it will
And
give
we
you
will
hours.
speak to management to try and get them back in
Oh,
again.
definitely. But it is, you get hours and hours and hours of fun. And they're small games,
They're
short
really good.
games, which is, as a mum, you know, I've been there. It's like when they go, can we play this just before bed? And you're torn between knowing it's going to take an hour to play, but you want to have that me time with them.
moment, yeah.
So we're going
See,
to...
obviously not having children, all I know about children is before you put them to bed, they're the thirstiest humans in the world. They cannot drink enough water, ever. They've always got a lot of water before.
I'm going to throw my daughter in it now. But everything, every excuse under the sun she would come up with. I put her to bed and it'll be,
Well,
I'm
she
thirsty.
is your
and-
child. She wants to spend time with her
say no
mummy.
more. Oh, I thought you'd been like me.
No, I wasn't being disparaging at all. I think you'd be an amazing mum.
So we're going to put the ends on. So now they face each other and they add up to 7. It doesn't matter which one we put in which. And we've left the ends unsewn, so now we're going to be able to put them in. If we sewed right up to the end, that would make that half an inch smaller.
And it won't
And
fit.
it won't fit. So we're going to just put them in. So what you want to do is line up the ends, and I haven't quite done 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to be a little bit tight on this one. Oh, you've been very quiet, John.
Well, I'm just, because I've never done this, I think it's extraordinary to watch how we're doing it.
You've never done this?
No. Well, I don't have children, so I've had no need to make a giant fuzzy dice. I think they're fabulous.
So we would sew between the 2 dots.
Yes.
And then when you sew around the other side, you would push the corner in. So I would...
Oh, okay.
So you push the corner in, and then we want to create...
So you wouldn't sew up to that dot to stop and then pull out and then go...
Definitely.
Okay, right, sure.
You don't have to. And I think Kerry scares me every time she does it. She's amazing at it. She can go all the way around the bottom of a square bag without taking it out. And it's every time I'm mesmerised. But I have to take it out, reverse stitch and take it out every time. And that's all we do. So we'll do
See, I'd have to do it and pray to the sewing gods that it works.
Well, I'm going to try it, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of praying now.
Fabulous.
So I'm just going to be sewing from one dot to the other. And I would start with a little bit in. And
So because you're going to reverse back, aren't you?
yes. Well, actually, with the first one, I'd probably start in a little bit anyway, so
Yes.
that as I come round to do that final corner, I can tuck it in. So I'd start from there anyway. And then we're going to do that reverse stitch just to hold it. And then I'm going to sew down to the dot. Isn't it wonderful that everyone can watch us on... Well, is it wonderful that they can watch us
Of course it is. I love the fact, because we're now live on Facebook every single time we do a show. I love that.
Because I know a lot of people
I love
couldn't
that,
get
because we
it,
get
could
lots
they?
of messages. Yes, that's been a
And the
problem for some.
messages mean so much. It's
Oh, I love
so
the
lovely.
feedback. I love it.
I've sewn down to my dot.
Perfect.
And now I'm not going to worry about that side. I'm just going to concentrate on the next side, and then I just tuck that corner in out of the way. So that corner's gone now. See, it's very easy, isn't it?
We've had a very good idea. What was the lady's name? Susan. Thank you very much for your post on Facebook on our live feed. She says it would be a really good idea to Odi coat this bag.
Because we were
That is
talking
a
about
really
that
good
earlier,
idea,
weren't
because
we?
you were worried that it would crack.
I said to you, John, does it crack?
It doesn't, and I think it was great. I think it's a really. I'm so glad we got to do the demo, because it's just so nice, and I think that would be absolutely incredible on this. Because also, if there is spillage, you just wipe it off.
The only thing
Even
I would...
if you're going camping.
The only thing I would say, though, John,
Yes.
is not to do the counters.
Yes.
Because I've not read the actual instructions on the back, but I'm assuming it won't be too good near children for...
Yes, yeah.
But
for the
how
bag,
amazing
being
would
able
that
to
be
do
to
that,
wipe down
definitely.
that? And it wasn't until you put that third coat on, it's like anything, like when you paint your nails
Yeah.
or you paint, the first couple you think,
Really.
and then when you
It's
put that last
layer
one on,
and you can keep layering up to the level that you want it to be as well.
that's good. That's good. And it's washable, is it?
But also you wouldn't need to coat the little game things, because the bag is already coated. And the good thing is once you've actually finished the bag and you Odi coat it, it seals the seams as well. So if you did the fabric first and then sewed it, you'd have to go back over and seal over where the seams areas
Of
are.
course.
Because there could potentially be holes.
It's brilliant
It's a really
stuff.
great
It's a
product.
really good product, that is. Just think, years ago, you would just have to use the
It
fabric.
just got wet.
They just go wet.
But we're making life easier these days.
Life is so easy now. I'm in wonderment. The kids laugh at me every time. Every time I put something in the washing machine dirty and it comes out clean, it's like, how? How? I'm
See, I
very
don't
easily
understand.
pleased.
I don't understand that.
John.
I don't need to.
I know you have got an amazing husband that does it all for you, haven't you? So that's how... I do apologise about my ends. I'm not
you're
the
fine.
the
That's
neatest.
absolutely- But it doesn't... Look, every single person who sews are going to have the ends, and they're going to be so pleased because Wendy's left her ends in and they feel so much better as well.
And
We've
so
got
you-
time to finish it.
Well, I wanted to show...
Perfect.
I was going to try and get the zip in for people because that's the bit that... but that's we
Okey-dokey.
probably haven't got time for that, have
Well,
we?
what we'll do is let's talk through this and then we'll talk through the bits.
Right. So now it's given me a nice crisp corner because with the dice, what you want to do as well, I have understuffed it slightly. I probably
Yes.
should have.
Would you put some pellets in for the dice? You wouldn't.
No, because...
Would that be a loaded dice then?
Exactly. Because every time you... Excuse me, John.
all right.
Every time you threw it,
Yes.
it might fall to one side.
Yes.
If I knew what one it was and I was playing a game with someone, because I thought about another game you could play with the dice, is you could write down 1 to 6 for every person and then they throw the dice and then they mark it off and it's the first one to have marked off every single number. So there are so many
See,
possibilities.
I've just had a thought at those. Have you ever played Yahtzee?
Yes.
And get 5 dice.
God, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Wendy Orlando's Yahtzee. I would definitely buy that.
Bug Yahtzee. No, it'd have to have the bugs on it because that's
Fine
the
with
whole...
that. You could do it with the bugs rather than numbers.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be really
that
good.
is
There we
a
go.
different game
That's
though, isn't
patented,
it?
by the way.
So you do exactly the same. Now, on one of the sides, leave a space, because otherwise you won't be able to turn it out and stuff
How do you
it.
know that?
I can't possibly divulge that information. I did do it.
So the pieces itself, they are quite easy to do.
The
'cause
pieces
the panel,
are
they're very
really,
clear.
really easy.
Now, do you need to leave a 1/4 of an inch, or are they just consistent?
Again, it's all down to you. If you, whatever foot you have on, if it's not quite a 1/4 of an inch, as long as it's that consistency.
Perfect.
With the panel, yeah, I'd probably try and get it to the 1/4. But for something like this, all you're going to do is make it a little bit smaller or a bit bigger, depending. And they're very, very simple to do. And I've got one here to show. And they're simply the wrong side. The right side of this up, it doesn't matter. They both look the same. That's the great thing about these fabrics. And then you choose your bug. Oh, choose my favourite. Put the wrong side facing down. And then you get your Thermolan. Now, I did use, the only thing with the Thermolan is it's not sticky. So I use the 505, which is my best friend in sewing because it just sticks it. If you were to use the fusible fleece or wadding, you would be able to stick it down. But then you just place a bit, and it's all in the instructions. You cut it smaller than you need so that when you sew, this isn't in. Perfect. So that when you turn it out the right side, the bit that you've left with the opening, it hasn't got the excess wadding, so it's all cut for you.
That's a really
and
good idea.
I don't know if that you do a little trick as well. So before I turn it out, where the opening is, if you iron over where the opening is, when you turn it out, it naturally falls back into that, because you know when you're trying to push it. If you do that, then it will naturally fall for you. So that's how you make them. You cut the corners off first so that you're reducing the excess fabric, turn them in the right side, and it's the same for all of them. They're all made, but it's all in the instructions for you.
Now with this, you would do a slip stitch around there, but I suppose there's enough around there if you wanted to do a tiny top stitch all the way around, you could.
There is a big thing that I would say, a big no-no for that.
Oh.
Children are amazing.
Sorry, I have no children, so obviously that's a really important thing to mention. I have no kids, so it's the case of I just thought, oh, it looked really pretty with some thread around it. And as you said that, I'm like, oh yes, the child will eat it possibly.
Oh, no,
So-
I wasn't thinking about that.
What?
The children are really, really clever, much cleverer than you and I. If you've done like a stitch the wrong way, or there's something
Yes.
on there and you're playing any of the games, especially like this game,
Yes.
don't put pattern fabric on the back. You can use your own if you want. If you've got a pattern fabric and say it's got giraffes on and you've got a body and a head, the children will remember where the patterns are on the back.
Oh, that's so
So
clever.
that's why we've gone for polka dot, or plain, because
They're all the same. But
It would
even the
be-
polka dots, you could actually then line up which
they're
one's where.
so tiny you wouldn't know that. But
that's also true.
yes,
What a
by
good- I
all
had
means,
never thought of that.
don't use a pattern
I
fabric.
thought it was a safety thing with the top
no,
stitches.
because again, if you've put a top stitch a little bit wonky, they will pick that up straight away and you'll lose every single time. I guarantee it.
So you've got about 8 minutes left.
Right, I
No
just-
rush. I know you want to finish the bag, put a zip in, have
Exactly,
a
play
chat.
the game. But it's all in the instructions. That's really, really simple. And I've made 3 of the panels. Yes, the zip is the one that I'm more interested in. And all we do for the panels, and you'll see here, I haven't cut this one yet because I was going to do it, but it is self-explanatory. It tells you what size, they're 12.5-inch panels, but you might find on some of them you have a little bit of white. So make sure that you cut them with a creative grid ruler so that you've got them exactly the same. Because again, preparation of project, if everything's cut the same and sewn the same, it will fit. So, and then you just do a top and the top and bottom and then the side borders. But it's all in here. So we've done all three of those, and then what you might need to do when you've done that 4th one is just cut them all the same size.
Yes, just in case there's a little bit of overreach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the zip, here he is.
You'll need to change your foot again and move the needle.
I wasn't going to sew
Just
it. I wasn't going to
reminding
sew it.
You were going to
I was just going to show you.
We found the foot for you and everything.
You did. You had to go on a little bit of a search for that. So I do apologise, Paul. I'm being very, very messy today, but that's how I work. Everything is a mess.
We all do.
So you would get, and I would do it for the 2 outer sides first.
Okay.
Because I haven't made, so let me put 1/2 of the zip in, because then it'd be quite self-explanatory. So I've got my outer side of the zip, and what you do is I would buy a zip because the zip doesn't come included, but that's for a reason, because then you get the size you want. So you can either buy exactly the size you want, or you can do what I've done and get a bigger zip and then cut it down. So you would get 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm just going to use the green for each end of the zip. And then we place the zip on the panel, and then I'm going to mark where it meets the
border.
that's the one. And then you would put, and as I say, it is all in here, but I haven't got the material. You'd lay the fabric down here, and then you would lay the fabric on top. So both of these would be the right side of the fabric. As I say, it's really hard to tell on here. And then we would transfer that mark over to here. And I'm going to sew down there. And then what it does, I don't need the zipper foot for this one, but please, please, if you do, be careful when you sew over zips. Just take your time. Please take your time. So I'm just going
to ask you, the Thermolan, why do you prefer the Thermolan?
Have you never worked with Thermolan?
It feels amazing. And I know the design wall element of it, that is definitely fantastic.
It's quite stable.
Okay.
With the wadding, it's a little bit fatter, so it's not really important because they're flat counters. But if you were having counters that you need to stand, maybe like they had a little too much ginge on.
Ginge on?
No, not.
She does this every time, and now what does one say?
Sorry. I don't even know what gin tastes like. I don't think I've ever had it.
It's all right.
Is it? Oh, okay. So then you fold the ends back, and then you've created the length.
You fold the ends out.
Yeah, and we do a top stitch down there.
Okay. How far? 1/4 of an inch or?
Very close to the end.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you. But again, it's your bag. You do what you like. You do what you like. So just so, and all you're doing is encasing that zip. You do exactly the same the other side.
At that point where you've done the dot.
But make sure you pull it.
I was going to say.
And how do I
you
know that? We've all done it, haven't we? And
I've only put one zip in ever.
John.
It was perfect. I've never have to do it again. I did my only zip and it was perfect.
That when we
and it was an invisible zip as well.
No way.
Perfect. Claire Tyler taught me.
We did the London to Brighton a few years ago, and I'd psyched myself out of not going. If you live in Sussex, you'll know the Ditchling Beacon is a bit of a beast, and I'd psyched myself up not to go up there. But on the day I thought, I'm going to do it, and I did. Never do it again because I've done it once. So
exactly.
And then you would just trim the end.
Like dieting. I tried it once. It didn't work. Oh well.
And then you need to cut your bit in the middle. Do not use your best scissors. That's why I'm not cutting it with these scissors, because you just want an old pair of scissors to cut your zip because it will blunt them. And then you do exactly the same. You were
I was just looking to see if there was a pair of scissors we
you
could
do
give you,
exactly the same the other side, but
pulling
you would
the zip
pull
into
your
the
zip
entrance. Okay.
out of the way. Would you like me to do this one? Have we got tough?
You've got about 7 minutes.
I don't think so. You said that ages
do?
ago. You said that.
They're giving you more time because you're so entertaining.
Well, if I was in, I would.
Oh, we've had a message in. Somebody's bought the bag for their friend's newborn baby. Oh, Wendy, you're going to be part of that little baby's life.
Have they?
No, they have.
Have they though?
It's on the Facebook page.
No, have they?
They have, of course they have.
No, what I mean is the baby won't be able to play with it. So is there a bit of ulterior motive here?
To be fair, I would actually buy this for ourselves as well.
I'm loving that motive.
It's a really good idea.
I'll try that on hubby. I need one of those for you. Yeah, so you pull. Oh, that is so lovely. That's really nice. And it, as I say, it's what's that? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Neutral. That's the word I was looking for. It's a nice neutral colour. So whatever their colour scheme is, it will go with. And you could always. You don't have to. A lot of people have got fabric stashes. I'm not going to tell you how big mine is, John.
Trust me, mine's bigger than yours.
Oh, I've seen yours. Yours is big.
I got evicted from my house. My stash was so big.
We all do it, don't we?
Exactly.
So
and I think as well, the bigger your studio, the bigger your space, the bigger your stash becomes. And even now, I've got a colossal studio, and I still can't fit it in. But I did go and get 250 bolts of fabric the other day. We're not talking about that.
Fit it in your car.
They deliver.
Oh, that's a bonus, isn't it?
A pallet arrives. It's true.
See, that's my kind of delivery. I've got an old pair of scissors here.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Oh, that was a bit hard. So then you would cut your zip off. Please, please don't use your best scissors. Have you got a pair of those scissors that no one's allowed to touch, John?
All of them. But they've all got labels, though. And it's only Sylvia and I in there, so.
And then the good thing about this is I am a little bit wonky with it, but then you would cut it off to fit the panel.
Would you give it a little bit of an overage? Because I know you like doing larger and then
This
going
one,
smaller.
this one I wouldn't, because you want to...
Oh, because you'd be lining everything up, of course.
A little bit winky wonky there.
Don't even mention it. No one would have seen it.
Oh, I can see it. Look, it's got like a little hump. It's got the hump this morning. Right. Look, a little humpy zip. And then you would put right sides
You
together.
realise that's going to start trending at some point.
Humpy zip.
Every time somebody has a zip error, please would you hashtag humpy
Oh
zip
my goodness,
Wendy.
no. That's a big hump this
That's a
morning,
little
isn't
bit
it?
of a
That's a
hump.
huge hump
But
this
now,
morning.
could you couldn't really tug on one end and pull it through, could you? No.
The hump's gone beyond that. I do apologise.
So yes, that is quite a little bit of a lump on your zip there. See, this is why I've only ever done it the once. It was perfect. Claire Tyler taught me perfectly. I've never had to do it again.
Well, that's because I was thinking about something else, and I do this. I go off on a tangent. So now, no, never. So now we're going to put the zipper foot on. Very easy. Just take one.
Change the
Exactly. Change the stitch length.
You've got about 2.5 minutes left.
And that's really important, changing the stitch length, because the zipper foot will not accommodate a righty or lefty. It will go down on it.
Perfect.
And then we do right sides together. And then
you're going raw edge of the zip to raw edge of the
top
fabric
of
and
the top of the panel.
The lip of the zip is at the top.
It is. The zip is, but again, you can put it where you like if you want.
Of course, because it's a reversible bag.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, were you just...
You
were trying to get me confused then, weren't you?
No, I was getting myself
you can
confused.
put it at the side if you want. You can put the zip anywhere you like. It doesn't matter, but I've put it at the top because I just think it'll look nice. And then all I'm using is my zipper foot has got a wide bit, whatever that's called. What that bit called? Whatever that is. So I'm lining that up with the edge of my zip.
Could it be a shank?
I didn't think that was a shank. Don't start, John.
I don't know.
Don't start. You give things funny names, don't you?
We are not starting that conversation again.
So then you would put your needle in the down position and move your zip pull out of the way. If you find it won't quite go, then you can lift the foot up. See, I'm a lefty, so I find things a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to take it out and then move it out of the way. But at least I haven't worked with a, had to change the whole foot like poor Delphine yesterday. I was watching her.
You'll see there was some extra thread wound on all bobbins this morning. We learned from our mistakes.
And then you would put the other side, because what you're doing is you're encasing the zip in between the two. And then we'd sew. I know we won't have time now.
Well, I was going to say, you've got 45 seconds if you want to try it.
No, I'm not even going to go there. So you would have it like that. Like that. So that looks perfect. And then I would just do a top stitch close to the zip, because then when you open and close it then
damage.
yes.
Yeah.
But then so what you would do,
Well, it helps support anything
yes,
getting
but you would
tucked
have to sew the both pieces together before you do it, because what we're doing to do is trying to create two sides. So once you've sewn them both together, then you would do the top stitch down there.
Perfect. Well done. Well, congratulations. Sold out in your first show of this.
So excited.
Now you're back after this with your lovely stuffed cushion.
I might not be.
Puff cushion. You will be. You have to be. I'll be sad
with my
if you
puffs.
leave
I'm
us.
coming back with my puffs.
Can't
John.
wait.
Yes.
But before then, we've got block of the week. I'm very excited now. I moved it. Now it won't stay. There we go. Now remember, we do need to get a little bit of extra Thermolan with this. This is your favourite, so make sure you get some Thermolan into your basket. If you prefer to get the H640, we've got that back in stock. And we've got our lovely pellets as well. So check it all out on the website. We're going to take a little break. Enjoy your cup of tea.
Thank you.
Have a cup of coffee.
I will too.
And we'll see you in a few minutes for block of the week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Orlando and I'm a craft blogger. You can find me over at thecraftyco.com, and if you do head on over and have a peep, you will see that I'm a tutorial blogger. I do all kinds of crafts, but my passions are crochet, knitting and sewing, which I've done for over 45 years. In that time, I've made lots of mistakes, but I have learnt lots of tricks and top tips that I can't wait to share. What I'd like to bring to the Sewing Street table is to show that you don't need to have gone to university or have a degree in design to be able to sew. You just need passion, a bit of courage to take the first steps, and a whole lot of patience. Oh, and an unpicker. You will need an unpicker. I do hope that you will follow me as I take my Sewing Street journey, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
There are two ways to shop with us, either via our website, which is www.sewingstreet.com. Scroll down past the live programme and either click on the Shop Our Catalogue banner to shop via category, or shop today's products by scrolling through the list under the email newsletter sign-up form. The other way to shop is via our UK call centre, which is 0800 001 4433.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns. Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
Hello and welcome. We love hearing from you, and we really hope that you can follow us on our social media platforms. We've got Instagram, which is @Sewing Street. We have Facebook. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One is the Sewing Street TV page, and the other one is Sewing Street Fans. All 3 of these are monitored all the time by our wonderful team, and if you want to message us on air, drop us a line on either of those 3 and we'll definitely be able to answer your questions that you may have. If you post on the actual wall, we can perhaps answer there. Otherwise, message us as well. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for being involved, and it's only because of this community that we're able to bring you all these different diverse products and to be able to answer your questions that you may have. Another way you can stay in touch with us is by signing up to our newsletter. These newsletters are sent out to you very regularly, and they include not only our guest profiles of upcoming guests, but also amazing shows that we've got coming up for you. And if you want to look at the amazing products before everybody else, that's the best way to do it. If you'd like to sign up and you haven't already, the link to follow is www.sewingstreet.com/sign up. You won't regret it. Thank you.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page. Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Hello, my name's Fiona Hesford and I'm founder of Sew Girl. I'm based down in Worthing on the south coast of England, and I've got a range of sewing patterns which I've developed over the last few years, which are projects for loose-fitting clothing, everyday, simple garments, things that I really love to wear myself. And I'm going to be bringing you them to Sewing Street over the next few months. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye!
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Welcome back. I'm John Cole Morgan, and today is Block of the Week. Sorry you missed last week. I just needed a couple of days. So now we're going to go and do blocks 7 and 8, which is why we've got 2 blocks this week because I was away. We've got this. This is our rainbow color. Sorry, this is our blossom colorway with a black background. Now let me go through the blocks and how we're doing this. What we are doing now is we're doing the instructions. as well as the panel, and these are going to be £7.99 per week. And then for the entire quilt, you're going to need to get some background fabric, and we're selling that as a separate product to be able to get that. So you'd only need 2.5 meters for the entire project. You'll need about 1.2 meters for your borders and sashing. So if you wanted to buy them as you went along, you just need to buy a 1/2 meter here, a 1/2 meter there, and being able to keep up with the projects as you go. We've suggested doing this in three different colorways. We've got the first one here, which has got a black background. And then we've got this in a cream background as well. So you can see we've got this in a lovely cream background. This is also with our Blossoms colorway. Both work really well. I think the black is a little bit more contemporary. The cream a little bit more traditional, but both I think are incredibly effective. Now this is our rainbow colorway, and we've done this with a white background, and I think this really pops really well with the colorways. And I think as well the black I think works incredibly well on this as well. You'll see when we've made some blocks up, it works very well. And the rainbow there, even when you've got the quilt upside down, which wasn't intended, let's get that the right way around, even when you've got it that way, you can see it is such a lovely quilt. And just it would be so comfortable to have on a bed and to be able to do. We're already on week 7 and 8. We do have the bundles of fabric available in the black, the white, and the cream. So the first one we've got is the black. This is also available by the 1/2 meter. So if you wanted to check out on the website and get them on the 1/2 meter as you go, you're more than welcome to do that. We just wanted to make it a little easier for you that you've got all of your background fabric, and then each week you'll get your panel and your instructions. Now we have had a bit of problems getting in certain fabrics of late. The current situation means that the supply of certain colours around the world, not just with us, but around the world, have become a bit of a problem. This in the 2.5 meter bundle has already sold out, but we do have white in stock by the 1/2 meter. So white is quite difficult to get hold of at the moment. So if you do need to get some white, it's back in stock at the moment. These are £3.49 for a 1/2 meter of this. Again, for the quilt, to do the whole quilt, you'll need 2.5 meters. And if you're just going to buy them as you go, you're going to need 1.3 meters for all the blocks, and then 1.2 meters when you come to the borders and sashing. Now, if you're wanting to do the cream colorway, we do have this as a 2.5 meter bundle already. So you can check the website out for the 2.5 meter bundle. It's only the white that is sold out of the 2.5 meters. This is £17.45 for the cream 2.5 meter bundle, but we also have the cream by the 1/2 meter, and that's working out again at £3.49 for a 1/2 meter. Now, if you're buying things by the 1/2 meter with us, remember you can get as many units as you like, and that will come cut to you as a single piece. So if you wanted to say get 4 meters, you'd order 8 units, and that would come to you as a single piece of 4 meters. Now let's have a look at each one of these blocks. This is now the panel that you're getting for your block 7, and it's coming with a wonderful set of instructions as well. And this is the rainbow colorway that we're doing here. Oh, I need Blossom. Let me move that to the wrong one there. Sorry, I picked the wrong one up there. This is our Blossom colorway. And the fabrics are so vibrant on this. Many of you have asked to see all of the fabrics that you're getting in all of the kits along the way. So you'll see this is our fabric 4, this is our fabric 7, this is our fabric 9, this is our fabric 6, and this is our fabric 5. But I think many people have asked to see what all the fabrics are. So what I did as well was I took a square of each one and sewed those together, so you'll be able to see each and every single color that we've got. These are in different orders, so the colors, they're not in the same order, but that just gives you an idea of what all of the colors look like. And what's really handy that I find when you're picking your background color, which is another reason I did this, because a lot of people do struggle to visualize what it is they're going to do for their background color. I'm going to put all 3 of these colors down, and with the Blossom and the rainbow, I'll put the little squares on each one, so you can then decide if these are an option for you for background colors. One of the ladies on our Facebook group chose a beautiful claret color, which is a deep purple, which I thought was really lovely. It's such a great idea. So that's what it would look like with the black background. And if I take the black background off and we look at the white, that's what it would look like with the white. I don't know, I think the white and the black are really, really strong, but I think I like it with the cream. I think this just works so beautifully with the cream, and it's that ever so slight subtle difference between the white and the cream. I personally prefer the cream with this colorway. But we've got two colorways for this design. We've got the blossom, which we've just looked at. We've also got the rainbow. So just to go, while I've got the fabric out, let me show you what all 8 of the rainbow colors are with the cream. And you can see they're really, really lovely colorway there. I just love that. And personally, I'm not sure the cream works quite as well with this because these are so modern and vibrant. I personally prefer the white and the black when it comes to the rainbow. But as the great thing about quilting is everybody's got different thoughts on it. All of them are right because it's what's worked for you. But you can see there, if I just pull the cream across, you can see that that just isn't quite popping as much as if you put it with the white. That's if you can get white, so get it now. And then you've got the black as well. Now, I personally adore this with the black. I think that works so beautifully. It just gives it that lovely little pop. And the great thing is, as being a long arm quilter, I always think later on, how am I going to quilt this? And I adore this orange colour. So I would quilt the whole quilt in gold with this black thread, with a black background. And I think that would work really, really well with the design here as well. So that's our rainbow colourway with all of the 8 fabrics there. So let me show you then the panel that you're getting for our block 8 there. Oh, sorry, block 7. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. This is the panel for your block 7, and you're getting the wonderful set of instructions with that as well. Now let me show you what the blocks are going to make for our block 7. Let me just fold as I go, otherwise I get lost. So the block we're making today, I'm going to show you these in our, first I'll show you the rainbow block. So this is the rainbow colorway with a white background. And then we've also got it in a blossom with the cream. And I just think that pops so beautifully. And let me just find it on the quilt. Of course, it's where, oh, there we are. So this is what the block looks like over there. So you can see there with the cream. And if I move it out the way, you can see with the black. It does work really well with these contrasting backgrounds. And it's just such a lovely block and so much easier to make than you think. And the great thing is there are not that many points to line up as well, which I know as quilters we all get a little bit nervous about the points lining up. Now what I'll do is I'll just quickly show you the block 8 as well, so that you know where we are for the 8, because we've now looked at the colours, we've looked at everything we're going to go through that. So what we'll do now first, look at the rainbow colour. This is our block that we're going to be making for block 8 in our rainbow colourway. Again, this one I've used a white background here. And that gives you a wonderful pattern. You've got the pattern to go with it as well as the panel. And you can see here we're using 5 colorways. 5 of the colors there of the 8. That's how much you're getting on the panel this week. So that's our Brights colorway for block 8. But now also we've got our rainbow colorway as well. That was what we've done with the rainbow with a cream background. I'm loving the cream backgrounds for these, which is why I think that works so well. And then again, we've got our wonderful panel and the set of instructions then for our block 8. And that's what you're going to get for this week for $7.99. Just a reminder, you will be needing your own background fabric. That is entirely up to you which color you choose. We've shown you the black, we've shown you the cream, and we've shown you the white. We've got those as 2.5 meter packs for 2 of those colors, being the cream and the black. The white, unfortunately, has sold out, but we do sell everything by the 1/2 meter as well. So do make sure you check out on those as you go. So let's get straight into this, and I can show you what it is we're going to be making. Now with all of these, what I would suggest in every single one of your keys, whichever one you're doing, I would take your fabric and I would make sure that if you have got enough left over from one of your blocks, cut yourself one of these and make sure what you do, because on each one of these panels, you will see it's written fabric 9, and then this one's fabric 7, fabric 4. So just create yourself a nice little key to be able to have all of these available for you so that you always refer back to the color and you know which color you're doing. It just makes life a lot easier. Now, as I'm going to be doing this on air, I've already sewn half the block together. I just wanted to be able to show you all what you were doing in making this block, and it is such a lovely block to make. I really enjoyed making this block, and it is a lot easier to make than you think. Something's not right there. That's because that one's the wrong way around. That's what it is. You've just got to make sure you lay them all the right way, and just check back to your pattern. It'll all be in your pattern. And there we go. So we've got the white there and we've got there. So that's what your block's going to look like in its stages of making. So all I've done so far is I've made that one. I've made those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the important stages of each one of these. Now, despite pressing these before we came on air, these have gotten a little bit wrinkled because I just put them on top of something else while they were still warm. So I'm just making sure that whenever you do this, make sure your fabric is as flat as you can get it to be. And having pressed this all, don't fold warm fabric. There we go. Just make sure everything's nice and flat before you start. And the great thing is you're actually only making 2 blocks, which is this block here. You're making this block here. You're going to make 4 of those, and you're going to make 4 of those. And they're really, really easy to do. We'll start with this one, and the first thing you're going to do is make sure you line everything up in the correct order. The reason being is that it's very easy to get these the wrong way round. It's not a problem. If the colours are in the wrong place, it doesn't matter. It just gives you a different look. But you do want to try and make sure that you've got everything lined up the right way, that you've got your background fabric based on the outside edges. You can see there, they're all on the outside edges. So all I'm going to do now is going to take that and I'm going to sew the background fabric, fold that over, and I'm going to sew on this line. Now, many of you have heard me speak about a quarter-inch seam and a scant quarter-inch. What you're going to be able to do here, you'd like to do a scant quarter-inch. So what a scant quarter-inch means is if I was normally sewing and I just sewed a 1/4 of an inch down there, my thread would be at exactly a 1/4 of an inch across to the edge of my fabric. So before you've even folded the fabric, that measures a 1/4 of an inch. But then when you press your fabric and you press that over or open or however you press it, there's always that fold in both sections of the fabric. So what is a 1/4 of an inch from the stitch line to the raw edge is actually going to increase in size because when you fold the fabric over, you've got that additional piece. So you just want to make sure that each time you do a scant 1/4 inch, that you're making sure that you're moving your thread, where you're putting your thread down, you're moving that over towards the raw edge, 1 or 2 threads of fabric. Because that way then when you press it open, then the actual measurement from the actual folded section of the fabric to the edge is exactly an inch, a 1/4 of an inch. I hope that made more sense. Oh, what happened to my thread? Always got a little hiccup every now and then. The little gremlins come in, start with the website and end with the sewing machine. And there we go. Now when you're pressing these, you want to make sure, because when you've cut this, most of it's on the bias. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to just set my seams, because I always use 100% polyester, and when you add that little bit of heat, the polyester just shrinks into itself and activates. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm going to press my seam open. You can press them to the side, whatever works best for you. I always say to you, if you haven't pressed your seams open before, try one block by pressing them open and see if you prefer it. Now what you're aiming for is once you've sewn that the edge of the whole edge of your triangle, your new triangle, because now you've taken your 2 triangles and turned that into 1, you're wanting that to be the exact size from there to there of your purple triangle. So when you put that on top of each other, they should be exactly the same size, and they are, which is extraordinary because none of the rest of them were. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sew a scant 1/4 inch all the way down here. Again, 1 or 2 threads away from that 1/4 inch section. And I'm hearing now the blocks that are selling so far. Blossom is in the lead again. Oh, but I'm hearing in block 8. So block 7, Blossom's in the lead. But for block 8, Rainbow's in the lead. Now, what I love about these blocks is you don't have to make the quilt. You can just buy a block. You'll get the instructions to be able to make it. And you can just buy one block and you can make a bag out of it, or cushions, or however you choose. Now, you'll see I've made 4 of these now. You'll see one's over there. One's there, one's there, one's there, and one's there. What you just need to make sure is that you've got the positioning of your purple triangles correct before you start sewing them together. Now you'll notice as well, I've got some dog legs over here. I'm going to use these fabulous Janome ones. I'm going to use, all I'm doing is I'm just gently, you'll see I've got that little dog leg over there. I'm just going to do that, or dog ear, whatever you want to call them. I'm just trimming them off. I don't need to get my rotary cutter out because you're just trimming away the excess fabric. Now you don't need to do this. I personally prefer to because it just makes life that little bit easier when you come to sew things together, but you're more than happy to leave it in and whatever works best for you. And you'll see over here, I didn't leave them in, so I'm just going to trim those down now. I didn't take them off, I mean. Brilliant. So now I've got 2 of these already lined up. I'm now going to sew these 2 together. Now I know the pattern will tell you how to do this differently. I'm just showing you how to make this easier for yourself to do. So I've sewn those 3 together. I've made 4 of these, and I haven't made 4 of those. I'll make that now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that on top of this, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 of an inch down here. Now again, I would do that ever so slight scant 1/4 inch, 1, possibly 2 threads away from being a 1/4 of an inch. If you don't do that, don't worry. The main thing is just be consistent. Whatever you're doing in the whole process, be consistent. Right, so that's your first one. Something is blocking that. There we go. And then that's going back there. Check you've got it all the right way around. And then I'm going to sew that one onto here. So I literally just put that on, and I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch down that seam there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my seams to one side, because what I've done on the other side is I've pressed my seams the other way. And the reason I want to do that, I'll show you now once I've got those nice and flat. So what I've done here, you'll see I've pressed my seams this way, because on this block, I've pressed them that way. So when I try and put these 2 together now, when I put those together, you will notice that I can then manipulate my fabric to be able to be nestled beautifully in there. Now, if you do press your seams open, what would happen is you would just line up the seams and do exactly the same thing. I tell you each week that you must try something different. I've tried to press them this way because I've had a few messages from people saying they find that a lot easier. I'm going to give it a go. The other tip to do when you are trying to line these up, there are very few points that you want to match in this block. This is one of them. You're wanting to make sure that your purple line goes perfectly with your blue line. So when you sew those, your point there is perfect. That is the one side that you are going to make sure that you're going to want to try and make sure that you can hit, because it just looks that lovely perfect seam. If you don't get it right, that's okay, but it would just be nice if you could, and that's one of the ways of being able to just make sure that you try and get that done. And as I get to this edge, I'm now turning my fabric to check that those are lined up as well, so that when I get to the end, I'm hopefully going to hit that point on the seam as well. Again, if you don't, that's absolutely fine. It's just one of those nice to haves. If you can get it right, awesome. And if you don't, it's okay. A lot of my points haven't matched either. And everybody still loves the quilt. And if they don't, send me the quilt. I'll love it. So now I'm just setting my seam because I've used the polyester. That just makes the thread contract that little bit. Oh, excuse me while I hit 4 points in one day. I think I'm just going to go home now. That's it. I'm done. Brilliant. Oh my goodness, I did not expect to get every point on that row. Sorry, we're going to take a moment now and celebrate in those 4 points. And what I meant by those 4 points is you'll see that those two match perfectly and these two match perfectly. That is extraordinary. That's exactly what you're looking for. So when you join these two together, you're going to make sure that those points meet as well. So that is the most perfect example of what it is you're meant to be doing. And I can assure you this edge is not going to be like that because you don't get that lucky twice. Now, when you're making this block, it's a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we've got this big triangle over here, and we're now going to make this square and these two triangles be exactly the same size as that. Now, in order to do that, what you will see is you're going to turn this triangle onto here, and you're going to line this up with the base of your fabric there, your base of your fabric triangle, and you're going to line it up here perfectly. It's really important that you get this right. So make sure that you're always getting that in the correct place. The reason being is if you do get this wrong, you're not going to get the point at the top of the triangle. Okay. So what you're doing now is you've pressed that, I set my seam, and then I just roll this back. Okay, so that is going to slot in there. Now we're going to attach this triangle on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on top there. And just like the other one, I'm going to line my outside edges up perfectly. And I'm going to line the edge of my triangle up perfectly there. And I'm going to sew along that line. So I've lined my triangle up there, I've lined my triangle up there, and I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch down that line. And again, I'm going to set my seam, and then I'm going to roll that back. I'm going to roll that back to try and make sure I get that as straight as possible. And there we go. Now the test. Does the blue fabric fit on top of it? And it does. There's a little bit of a bow there. Now at this point, I do then just take my pair of scissors and snip off my dog ears there. Just takes away that little bit of extra bulk. And I then sew from there to there, trying to hit this point here. Now it's really important at this point there, you can see on my triangle over here, if I get my needle on that side of this cross or on that cross, this is how it will fold out. If I get it on this side of the cross, what will happen is that your block would end like that. Now it's not a problem if it does, it's a point that you've missed. It doesn't matter. But trying to make sure that you hit that cross and you try and get that cross right there or a little bit on this side means you're going to have that wonderful little square block on there. Now I'm going to go for 5 out of 5. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but we'll give it a go. Well, it's my 66th show. And it's my 6-month anniversary, so all those 666s, not sure. Oh, oh. Jane saying happy 6-month anniversary. Thank you, Jane, that's very kind of you. Oh, I'm going to call that a win. I'm going to call that. Oh, and Emma says she loves watching the demos because I explain everything so well. You're very kind. Thank you. So there we go. Oh, I've got this the wrong way around. Yes. So you can see I did hit that point almost, but actually no, I did. There, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join these two together. Now when I join these two together here, I'm going to put these on top of each other, and the point that you're trying to meet here, these seam lines here need to be exactly the same, exactly lined up, so that when you join them, they look like that. They look like that. You're trying to make sure that that point is exactly right. Again, if you get it wrong, that's okay. Don't worry. We're just trying to do our very best these days. Again, I'm doing that scant 1/4 inch just by 1 or 2 threads. I like it. That's 6 points. I'm very excited. 6 points for 6 months and 66 show. There we go. Brilliant. So we're lining that one up there. Now this one, you've got exactly the same thing. You just want to make sure that these two seams, when you put the blocks on top of each other, if I roll that back, you want the blue seam and the teal seam to be in a line, so that when you sew down here, you're going to be able to get that point exactly like that. I'm just going to quit while I'm ahead. I think we've hit 7 there. Even if we're not, we're going to pretend I did. Oh, and I've just realised I haven't checked which way I'm pressing these. Nope, wrong way. Now remember, on the last way I was joining the block together, I was making sure that my seams were all going in opposite directions so I could nestle them. So I've done that again now. Oh, for crying out loud, I had them the right way. I've just repressed them the way. Oh, I got so excited about my seams matching, I then went and pressed them the wrong way. Brilliant. So you can see now my seams are going in opposite directions, so when I join them, they should nestle in. I am just going to open it up and check I've got them the right way, and I do. So the seams, the points you're wanting to match is when you do the seam over here, that these are completely lined up over there. Over here, you're going to have a triangle point that you want to match there. And over here, the triangle point, you want to make sure that you hit that little point there. I know it feels like a lot and everybody goes, huh? Don't worry, you've got this. Just take your time. Pin it into oblivion if you'd like. You can do this. I really missed the block of the week last week. It was wonderful to be back. And that is what you need to do to make this block. That is the finished block for block 7. And what I love about this is, as I've said, that a lot of people are buying the blocks not to make it as a quilt, but to make it as a lovely little bag or a cushion or a little wall hanging. It's just a nice way of being able to try a new skill and try something different. And then when you have done it, and I did miss one point, and I want you to be able to at home look for it and tell me where I've missed it, and tell me if it makes the block look absolutely awful, you'll never make it, you'll never sew again because you missed a point. But that is a very, very special little block. And the great thing is it doesn't matter which way you put it, it's exactly the same. I adore this block. I think it's really special. And it's a nice little way of being able to try something new, because not a lot of people have done the quarter square triangles. Well, I don't know what we call those, the triple square triangles, because putting these together can be quite hard. But the good thing is you've only got a few little areas where you do need to try and meet and make them work. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. It's just a lovely little block, this. So this is our block 7. I've done this in our rainbow colorway. I'll show you the... this is the rainbow colorway with a cream background. I'll then show you, that's the rainbow colorway in the cream background there. This is the rainbow colorway in the white background. And you can see the white does make it pop that little bit more. And then you've got the blossom fabric, blossom panel with a cream background there. That's what this one's going to look like. Now remember, backgrounds, you can check out all of the websites as exactly which one you want to choose. You can go whichever way you like. There's no right or wrong. You can choose how you like to do that for your backgrounds. And we're going to now do block number 8. Would you like me to show you blocks 1 to 7? Let's do 1 to 7, because I think that actually is a nice way, because some people may just be joining us now. Now, I'm hoping I've got these in the right order, but I have a horrible feeling I don't. I don't. There we go. That's number 1. Now, if you haven't joined in with us yet, you can actually buy a bundle. We've got a bundle today from blocks 1 to block 8 of all the colours joined together in one bundle. So you can go back and have a little look at that. We've got all of that available on the website. So do check the website out. So this was our block 1, and I'm going to show you the 2 colourways here. I'm hoping we've got that in the right space. Does that work for... Oh, there we go. So this is our rainbow colourway here. And what I'll do is, while I've got it... I will put these 6 colours, if I can position this correctly. Will that work? Perfect. So there we go. That's the widest we can get it. So this shows you all of the 8 fabrics that you're going to have in the entire range. Perfect. I think that works. So that was our block 1. And then we had our block 2. I'm just going to get the block 2 because we had that in 2 different colourways there. We did that with the white background and with the black. I'll do the black there. That was our rainbow colourway, that blossom colourway there. And you can just see they're really, really sweet. Now I've got confused with my blocks 3 and 4. I think this was block 3. And you can see how different they all look each week. This was our block 4. Oh, I've got that on the wrong side. That was our block 5. This is our block 6. I'm sure I've got these in the wrong order, so forgive me if I have got these in the wrong order. You can double check the website. I had these all lined up and then I moved them all. And then we've got this wonderful colourway again. But these are all the blocks that we've made. This is then block 7 that we've just made now. And this is block 7 that we've just made now. And then of course we've got our lovely block 8 that we're about to show you now. This is our block 8. And this is our block 8 again. So those are the 8 blocks that you've got for all of the colorways, and these are the full colors that you're going to get for each one of these. Each one of the designs does come with full sets of instructions, loads of figures to be able to figure out how you're doing this and when how you put everything together, lots of different instructions there. They're really, really popular. They've sold really, really well so far, and I'm just hoping that anybody who hasn't gotten involved can do so now. Now what I've done here is I've made half the block, mainly because there are a lot of triangles here. So this is one of those ones you do need to take your time. You need to make sure that you just breathe and be consistent. This is where I would suggest that you're going to put all your triangles together in one go. You're making sure you're using the same foot. You're doing the same time of doing it. The reason being is that if you're consistent on your triangles, everything else works a lot easier for you. So what I'm going to do now is just lay this out into the layout that it's got to be when we finish, because I've already made a whole load of these. And what I'm doing is I'm making one of each one of these to be able to show you what you're making as you go along. Because there are 6 different half square triangles you need to make for this quilt, this block. Perfect. So what you're going to do, now unfortunately I haven't got my pattern to hand, so I can't actually just double check which one is which, but you will see that there are exactly 6 different half square triangles that you're going to make. So these, 7 of them, sorry, there's 3 of them here and 4 here. Now all of these, you need to do multiples of these which go into the quilt. So this one here, you'll see is in this corner, that corner, that corner, and that corner. So these are your corner pieces. So you're going to make 4 of these. When you do cut these, you're going to make sure you get the measurements exactly right. And when you cut your square, if this was a full square, actually I can show you with these. When you have got this fabric, just slide that up. When you are cutting it, what you're wanting to do, when you've got that lined up, you're wanting to make sure that when you get to cut from here to here, you put your ruler on the fabric. That's definitely corner to corner because you can see that's gone through the cut line. You're wanting to move this down 1 thread so that when you're actually cutting through the corner. Because if you line your ruler up on the exact corner side, when you take your blade, the thickness of the blade pressing against the ruler, it may only be a marginal difference, but by having that marginal difference all the way through the block, it'll make an adjustment, and you could be 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch out, because that 1 thread may then add up, and as you go through the block, you may then be slightly out. So just move your ruler down ever so slightly, you then cutting through the actual exact points on the bottom, on the sides of the block. That's my top tip with cutting all of those. And then when you do sew them together, just make sure that you're lining the edges up here, the outside edges perfectly. So you'll see there I've got my outside edges perfectly lined up. And if you are slightly out on this side here, you'll see I'm ever so slightly out, I line it up with the bottom fabric, the one that's the furthest out. And the reason being is that I know this will be completely square because I've lined the fabric up here. And as long as I go through a straight line there, the block will be completely perfect. So as you can see, you're going to make multiples of all of these different 7 that you've got in the pattern. That's all very clearly laid out for you there. So go through and just chain piece these consistently all the way along, making sure you use that 1 tiny thread or 2 tiny threads away from that scant quarter, that 1/4 inch to give you that scant 1/4 inch. And I'm doing exactly the same thing, lining the base up, making sure I stitch along that outside edge. And the tip is just to be completely consistent all the way through. And you would literally just go and chain piece all of those ready to go and just stitch all the way along to get all these triangles in line. And then when you come to press these, as I've done, because I'm using polyester thread, I just set my seam first and then I'm pushing these to one side. And I try and get my darker fabric on the top. And when I'm pressing, I'm just going to pull this ever so gently and use the nose of my iron to press along there to gently push that out. because if you just yank it and pull it across, you'll distort the seam. But by just using the nose of your machine, of your iron, if you just do that, then it's all done and dusted. Darkest fabric to the top, set your seams, and you roll back. And you do that then for all of your triangles. You've got 36 half square triangles to make in total, which is great. Nice, easy project for you to be able to practice your half square triangles on. Now, if anything is coming out at a different size, when you start sewing these all together and things come out at a different size, all I would say to you is turn your fabric over, measure the blocks that you've cut, measure your 1/4 inch seam, see where the error is, see where you're wrong, and try and improve on that the next time you come through. Don't unpick, because you're going to have this, everything's on the bias, and if it's all on the bias, it won't be able to be, it'll just distort ever so slightly. So just recognize that there was a problem at that point and fix it for the next time. Well, that's what I do anyway. Now, also, just to relieve your bulk, all I'm doing now is I'm just taking a pair of scissors and cutting all my little dog ears off as I go. How long have I got? Perfect. So I've got about 7 minutes, 8 minutes left. Oh, 9, okay. Perfect, then that should be all right. Should be able to finish the block for you. Because the important thing here, especially given the fact the pattern comes with a different color instruction, it's important that you make sure that you lay this out correctly, because there are a couple of tricks which might be a little easier to show you with a rainbow block, but it just is one of those few little things that we just make sure that you've got that right, so that you've got the block and you can then just see the additional parts of the design. Right, so we've got our block ready to go here. And I now line this up. So first things first, check I've got this in the view. Right, so over here I have a triangle. And then over here, that's the top one triangle. And then that there. Then well, that is high praise indeed. I'm going to repeat that if you don't mind. I'm hearing in my ear the producer's too busy watching our demo, than doing what he's meant to be doing, which I love. I think that's the best praise I've ever had. Thank you for that, Liam. Sure. I knew I'd lost one then. And this is where you just take your time, because it is one of those ones you want to make sure you've got everything in the right order, because some of these fabrics are quite similar. You just want to make sure you just take your time and get this all laid out correctly. And that one goes that way. Now with this colorway, you don't quite see as well as you do in this one. You will see in each one of these, you've got a triangle here, and you've got a diamond here, you've got a diamond there, and a diamond there. And then you've got alternating pinks over here. So you can see it very, very clearly in this. But what I love about this rainbow fabric is that you've got exactly the same thing. You've still got your triangle there, you've still got your diamond, you've still got your diamond. But because these fabrics are so interesting, you're able to see that you've still got the diamond there, you've still got the diamond there, you've still got your triangle there. But because these merge so beautifully in together, it just works so, so brilliantly. Now, once you've lined all these up together, I then suggest that you sew these in rows. And because the rows are the same, you'll see that this row here is the same as this bottom row here. And I do them in groups of 2. And when you're sewing these together, you'll see that if you've got 2 triangles meeting together, make sure that you line those up perfectly there, that you are going to try and hit that point if you can as you go along. I do chain piece these. I do two lots of 3 at a time. I'm not sure I'll have enough time to do the whole block, but I'm going to give it a go. Will you give me a 2-minute warning when it's time? Now, because I've already done half of one, I'm going to just put this in line as I go, just to check I get everything the right way round. And here you'll see I haven't. I've got that. Oh, hang on. That's there. That's there. Right. That's why we always lay it out to check. And then I lay these and just get these done. Because even this morning when I came in, I had to unpick that block over there because I'd sewn that one had been put in like that. So I had to unpick it to move it around like that. So it is important that you just take your time with this, lay it all out, and you'll easily be able to see where you're going on that. And just take your time pressing these, getting it perfectly right. And you're going to put that over there and check that that's the same as that one. Now you repeat this all the way through. I'm going to go until I've got time. Our gremlins are out to get us today. So all I'm doing now is I'm just laying these on top of the blocks just to check I've got these the right way, and then sewing these on to finish that row. Now I've only got 1.5 minutes left, so I won't have enough time to show you how to do the second row, but what I will have enough time to do is, once I've sewn this together, is to be able to show you how you're going to put these two rows together. So make sure you're pressing everything really well. So what you're doing now is you've finished these two rows, and when you then put these together, I probably won't have time to finish this. So what you'll do here is, when you're putting this together, you're lining up that seam line here to that seam line there, and then the top of that triangle to the top of that triangle over there. And you're doing that all the way along through the whole row, trying to make sure these are really, you can see the top of the triangle there, top of the triangle there, you're lining this seam up here, and then the top of your triangle over there, you're lining that up perfectly to make sure that you hit that all the way along. So the methodology is you do exactly that for the whole row, just being mindful of all the little points that you're trying to match up as you go along. And you're going to have 2 halves like that once you've sewn all of them together. And all you do then is you just sew the top half to the bottom half, and that is your block 8. Sorry I didn't have time to finish all of that on the air. Apologies for that. But it's just such a lovely block to make, and I think it's one of those ones you'll really enjoy. So remember now, today we're doing block 8, which I've just shown you here. This is going to be the block 8 and my block 7. So that's my block 8 that we've already done. We've just finished the demo, and then I've got block 7 as well. Let me grab my block 7 in this colorway. So we've done block 7 and block 8. We've done both of those blocks today, and it's just such a lovely, lovely process on doing that. All of them come with a wonderful set of instructions, very, very easy to understand, and check out on the website for all of those. If you haven't joined in with us yet, we'd love to have you join in. Go through and check for our bundles that we've got available, and when you do make your blocks, please post them onto our social media platforms. We love being able to see what you've done. I personally love seeing it, and it always gives me a nice little thrill being able to see how everybody's done it so differently. And the background colors you've chosen as well is fantastic. We've highlighted the black, the cream and the white, available by the 2.5 meters. Also check the website for all of those, and thank you all so much for taking part. We're going to be back after the break with Wendy Orlando. We've got her wonderful cushion, puff cushion. We'll be right back after these breaks.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw, and as a professional sewer, I really know how important it is to use a high quality thread. Well, you think about it. You spend a lot of money on your sewing machine, you'll spend a lot of money on fabric, and you'll spend a lot of time sewing. So why let your thread let you down? I know a lot of our designers and customers prefer to use Aurifil thread. Now, this is a family business. It was established in 1983 and they're based just outside Milan in Italy. They produce superior quality threads for domestic and professional sewers alike, and they've achieved worldwide success with quilters, sewers, embroiderers and textile artists who all appreciate the versatility and the strength of these threads. It's all made from Egyptian cotton, which is grown just at the side of the River Nile, and Aurifil only use the long staple threads, which gives their thread that strength. Each one of these threads goes through 15 steps before it even gets onto a spool and then comes to you to use in your sewing projects. Now at Sewing Street, we've collaborated with Aurifil and we've brought you 2 collections of threads. So we have the Quilters collection, and these are exclusive to Sewing Street. We've done a lot of research with quilters, and these are the colours that you prefer to use. So we put a whole collection together for you. The second collection is the Essential collection. So this is for the homemakers, for the bag makers, for the craft sewers, for the dressmakers. And again, these have been proven to be the most popular colours that you're going to use. So if you want your projects to last longer and your seams to be stronger, invest in some quality thread. Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing Street, and these are my 5 top tips for successful sewing. So number 1, always use a good quality thread. A good quality thread will keep your seams stronger and also help to prevent lint building up inside your sewing machine. Tip number 2, if your project isn't going quite according to plan, put it down, walk away from it, come back again the next day and you'll probably find that things don't seem half as bad as they did. My tip number 3, never throw away your sewing machine manual, always keep it to hand because you're going to find hints and tips, techniques and troubleshooting in that manual. You'll miss it if you lose it. My tip number 4 is to read your pattern instructions before you even cut out your fabric. Different manufacturers of patterns will give you different instructions, different ways of constructing your garments and different seam allowances. So to have a successful garment, you need to follow the instructions precisely. And then tip number 5 is don't give up. Every professional sewer sewed their first seam. Every professional quilter quilted their first quilt. Every professional quilter sewed their first line of wonky stitches and had to get out the quick and pick. That's no different to you. So I hope you find these useful. If you want more hints and tips, then why not go to Sewing Street on channel 74 on Freeview, on Sky 670, and of course we have a YouTube channel where you can catch up on previous demonstrations. We'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Kerry from Living in Loveliness and I'm delighted to be part of the Sewing Street team. I'm based in Wolverhampton and I absolutely love working with fabulous fabrics. In particular, I love working with fat quarters and showing you how to get the most from your scraps. I love bringing communities of sewists together and encouraging people to sew for greater causes. Most recently, we have been sewing for our NHS and key workers. I look forward to bringing you hints, tips and techniques. I'll see you soon.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Welcome back. We've got Wendy back today with her puff cushion. I'm so excited to have you back again today.
Oh, thank you.
How was your little break?
Really good.
What did you do?
Hand sewing, actually.
Hand sewing?
Yeah, I sewed all the little counters
you just
together.
Don't stop, do you?
Ready for the next one because I wanted to make the second colourway.
Sold out in your last hour. Absolutely stunning. Congratulations.
And there's some lovely, lovely comments as well,
Oh,
which
I'm
is
so pleased.
great.
I love reading the feedback on it. It's
Me
so
too.
good, isn't it? Everybody's so kind. It's wonderful. But you've now brought us your wonderful puff cushions again. Tell me more.
I absolutely love these. You know, like when you want a little bit of glamour and expense.
I know it well. I know it well.
I can believe that, John. But you want to make something look much more expensive and more difficult than it actually is. These are so easy to make. But they look really expensive.
They look fabulous. And they're genuinely comfortable.
They're very
Which I
comfortable.
love.
Did you make one? Because you said you
I
were
haven't
going
yet.
to
I
make
have bought one, but I haven't made it yet because I've got all this free time available, obviously. So it's the case. It's one of those ones.
I'm with you on that
I'm taking
one.
2 weeks off and I'm going to do
that's
nothing. Good. I can't wait to do all the projects.
Apart from sew, because I did see. I'm very
house.
impressed. You actually unboxed your machine, didn't you?
I did. Oh, it's lovely. Yes.
Is it?
When I've got anyway, that's another story. I have
That is
something
another
else to
story,
tell
and
you.
I've got my eye on that one as well.
I know, they're really good.
But no, if you want something to look a little bit more luxurious.
And the colours, I just adore colour, and this one specifically. So let's start with this colourway.
So these are actually my favourite.
Oh, not that one. Sorry, which one? The raspberry one, the rainbow one. Is it the rainbow? Rainbow one.
These are brilliant for like children's playrooms.
They're gorgeous, because that's the one you made for us the last time, wasn't it? It's so beautiful.
This was my favourite until I got this one.
This is stunning.
Are we allowed to mention TV programmes?
Yeah.
We are, because years ago, you'll be too young. There was, I think
That's
it was.
because I lived in another country. It's nothing about age.
No,
I'm
it
not
is.
that young.
No, you are much younger than me. We used to watch a programme called I don't know if it was the Powerpuff or the Powderpuff. I think it was the Powerpuff Girls. And they just, I don't know why, that just reminds me of them. You've
we
never
had
seen
them.
it, have you?
No, we did.
Did you?
We did. African television, we had the Powerpuff Girls.
Was it the Power or the Powder?
Powerpuff.
It was the Power. But they just remind me of those, and that's my favourite now.
Was it Powder? It was Powder. Well, can't remember.
No idea, I can't remember.
We probably had an Afrikaans version of it, which was totally different anyway.
But they just remind me of that. But this is the rainbow. I love the
colourway
rainbow.
is so lovely.
And I think last time, we don't have it on display, but last time I did it so that the rainbow was going along the diagonal. But I would just do it random next time. And
you don't know how to do random. You're so methodical.
Right. They've really thrown me in here on this one.
Oh my goodness, these
Exactly.
are all random.
Every single one of them
But
is
I know
different.
you laid them all out. You laid these all out to get them random. But it looks stunning
I'm not going
however
to lie.
you do it.
I'm not going to lie, I did.
But it is. But the thing is as well, I think it's really thoughtful that you do that, because there are a lot of people who can just put their hand in a bag, pull it out and be happy with it. And there are people like yourself who want to take it considered.
I am getting better.
But there's nothing wrong with that methodical way.
But no,
don't
I
think
am
there's
getting
anything
better.
wrong with it.
But these ones have actually got 40. These are brilliant because
They're
you can
really
make
good.
so much more with these because you
only need 25 for this, yes. And then you made a
25.
smaller one as well.
I did. I made a little was it a 2x2? And today we're going to make a 3x3. So
No, I think you made a 4x4 because you then used some of the background fabric as your central one.
I've had lots of sleep since then.
How lucky for you.
Well, no, I've gone to bed lots of times. Whether I've actually slept, that's a different thing.
Know the feeling.
This one is a 40 panel, 40
For the
square
panels.
panel.
Aren't these panels incredible though? And the great thing is it's not just the rainbow colours, you've also got the texture on each one.
And I'm not sure, I know when I've watched at home before, I'm not sure if you actually pick that fully up until
No, I don't think
get
people
it.
do.
It's
Because you've
gorgeous.
got so many different textures. So this line over here, the top row, you've actually got sort of a linen crosshatchy texture to it in a grey. And then we've got it in a grey dot over here and then a white dot. And then a beautiful little zigzag. Oh, there we go. Look at that. And do you see what I mean? They change so much, the colours, when you've got that wonderful detailing on them.
Actually, that is a really good, that is a very good still because, but I think they're even brighter when you get them home. When it's not until you get them in front of you.
They're so vibrant. It's wonderful.
And it's a lovely weight of fabric as well.
So you're getting the panel as well as fabric?
What's the...
Yes, you're getting half a metre of each of those.
Yes, so with the rainbow comes...
Sorry, I thought you'd been briefed. Apologies.
That's fine.
Oh, we're getting a metre of the gold and you're getting half a metre of the cream. So you're getting a metre and a half of that as well as the panel, and we're getting the instructions as well.
And the instructions. That's a very good price considering this is the 40.
You're also getting your filling. What a kit. So let's recap that. You're getting your toy stuffing. You're getting the instructions. Could I ask you to hold up the instructions, ma'am? Thank you, ma'am.
I put my best.
Half a metre of the... Do you want to pop it flat on the table?
I will do that.
Thank you, ma'am. So lovely. You can just leave that there for all of the kits we're about to do, if you like. I like this. We're doing it as a joint effort. So we've got all the stuffing. The stuffing is 250 grams. You're getting the instructions. You're getting a metre of your gold. Thank you, ma'am. Half a metre of your cream. And the panel. Now, the lovely Wendy, I'm hoping her arms are long enough to hold the panel up to be able to show everything out. And there you go. There was a Wendy Orlando on set. 40 squares, 5 inches square each.
I feel like
all of this included. All of these included for £24.99. An amazing price point for that. And the quality, as you say, the vibrancy of these colours, they're really
good quality.
good.
And with this one, 25 squares, you've got 15 left over. You can make loads of
Exactly, because you could get 2 cushions, then you can do a 4x4, just adding one extra colour from one of the others.
You could
It'd be very random, it wouldn't go with you.
No, because you could make 2 of these. Because they've got the...
Oh, of course, because you've got the background.
But I don't know...
That's a really good idea, because if you use 20 of your squares with 5 coordinates, you can make 2 of these cushions.
You could.
You are very good at this.
I'm not sure if you'll be able to do them exactly the same, because...
Some fabrics you don't have the same, but it's the colours. So that's the first colourway that we have.
Oh, I'm not as good as you.
So let's have a look at this one here. This one is called... This is called the Raspberry Puff. Raspberry.
Raspberry?
Because
Liam
said raspberry. I'm like, raspberry? That's not right. I don't say that.
Is it a new fruit we've invented?
This is Fruit Punch.
Fruit Punch.
Is this the right one? Fruit Punch? So this one you're getting 20 squares.
And you are getting 20 random squares,
Wonderful.
which I found out. And they're beautiful prints. They are gorgeous prints.
So you're getting 20 of these gorgeous print squares. You're getting a metre of this raspberry pink. You're getting half a metre of the ivory. And then you're getting the wonderful set of instructions, which my lovely colleague is now dragging out. And this wonderful bag of 250 grams of polyester toy stuffing for £24.99. And this colourway is brand new to us today. That's what we've made out of it. It looks wonderful. Really, really special, that.
And if you turn it around, because I can't, the back is made of the fabric.
You've got enough fabric for the backing as well as the bordering.
Because the cream is to back the puffs.
Back the puffs.
But if you've got some old lining material that you want to use and you want to keep the cream for something else,
you can do that.
Then
too,
you can do that
because
the puffs won't be seen on the inside; they're hidden.
Perfect. And then the third colourway we have, it's the the teal, which is that the copen?
I've just put it all nicely for you there.
Copen, sorry, can we do that one there? So this one as well, you're getting your big bag, 250 grams of your stuffing, the wonderful instructions. You're getting your panels here. There are 40 coordinating panels on this one, of your 40 of your squares.
Going the wrong way.
These are really lovely, this Copen range. It's
now
wonderful.
these do
this is
have
Copen
matching
summer.
ones.
They do. You get 2 of each one in here.
Yes, these ones do have matching. And I made the cushion out of this last time.
You did.
It was lovely.
It really is. And then you're getting a metre of the Cadet, is it? Or I'm not sure. So you're getting a metre of this lovely, beautiful blue. Teal, it's called. And then half a metre of this cream. And again, £24.99. Such a great price point for these. The value is so good. It
is really good value, and especially if you do have a little bit, as I say, left over of your stash of something that you can use the back. I don't think you'll be able to get 2 complete cushions with the additional fabric, but if you might be able to if you mix it with the cream, but
yes.
I'm not sure. I will try it.
But I tell
time.
you, I'm pretty confident when I say this. There's a little bit of a stash out there. I'm sure they'll be able to do this.
I'm just going to tidy up because I will get told off, John. So that's okay. You make it look very easy to fold it, and it's not, is it?
Well, we'll do that one later. We'll do that one later.
Oh, we'll do that one later,
yep.
right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
so do you want to show us now how you made this all and put it all together?
Right, are we okay?
We're fine, we're perfect.
I've probably gone into... Yes, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to make your puffs. You want to make your puffs. Now, I'm going to make a 3x3 cushion.
Perfect.
Because the principle is exactly the same. So I didn't want to rustle, but I'm going to have to do it.
You rustle away.
I have.
Oh, I love that grey.
Yes, this is the last colourway.
Now this one we've just got a couple of gremlins, so we'll bring this to you in a few minutes. So the demo that we're doing now, we do have this colourway. There's just a little bit of gremlinage in our website again at the moment. So
they've been very naughty, those gremlins today, haven't they?
They've just been busy.
I think that's the thing.
And remember as well, if you do like the panels and you have got the background fabric that you don't perhaps need, these panels are all completely exclusive to Sewing Street, so do check out the website. If you just type in the word panel, they will all come up and you'll see everything that's printed as a panel exclusive to Sewing Street. You'll be able to then get hold of those in that single search.
And that really is a good thing if you do buy the panels on their own.
Is it ready now?
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, so the Ditsy Bitsy fabric squares that you've got there that you're working with, if you want the panel on its own, that's £7.99. Is that 20 squares?
It is, yeah.
It is 20 squares. I love it. Wendy is so tuned in. I love it. Do you want to do talkback? It's brilliant. You're so much better at it than I am.
No, I'd be going, what? What'd you say? What'd you say?
I do that all the time, if you've not noticed.
I'd be doing it 10 times worse than you would be doing it.
You do everything 10 times better than I do it. Now show me where we are.
So, yeah, it's just a case of making them as big as you want. You could make a 4x4 or a 3x3 and then use the rest for something else. But the one that we use, what's it, the Ditsy?
Ditsy.
Perfect for me. The Ditsy one, you will have enough to make one cushion. So there's 20 squares, and then you need to cut the additional 5
out of the background fabric.
Now, I love this background fabric because they're very clever with the colour matching, whoever puts these sets together, and they're beautiful. But if you were just to buy the panel on its own, there's so many colours. If you've got like a country kitchen, that you could use like a nice pink background, that would look lovely, or a cream. But I do like the grey because with the pink, it makes it pop.
It really does.
If you had a paler colour in there, it wouldn't. But I have done the paler colour for the square just to show you that you can use the cream backing if you wanted to with these, rather, because that's a little more delicate than if you were to put it with the grey.
That's a little bit harsher, isn't it?
It is, but I like that because I love that real zing and the pop in the centre. And again, I have gone random, but not random. With this one here, I've put the pink, the 5 in the middle to keep them away from the edge. I didn't want any of the pinks close to the edge because I just thought the eye would be drawn into the centre. So there is always method in my madness. Whether it's the right method, I have no idea.
Well, I love your methods, whatever you do.
I have no idea.
Great.
So I've done a few because I would like to try. Last time I didn't quite get the back on, so I'd like to try and do that today.
No pressure.
So no pressure whatsoever. I like pressure, a little bit of pressure. So the first thing you're going to do is cut everything out of the panel.
Okay.
Try and be as accurate, and I'm always saying this, always going on about it, try and be as accurate as you can. With the top ones, it's not hugely important because you're going to be putting them to a backing.
Fine.
With the back, try and get them as
Perfectly square as possible.
because when you put them together, if they're all perfect and you've got a perfect seam, they're all going to be super perfect. So that's, you get one of your backings, and I have created a little hole so I can stuff my puff afterwards. Okay, you don't have to use scissors. If you want to, you can use your rotary cutter.
Yes.
If you're using your rotary cutter, please be careful. Not only keep your fingers away, just be careful that you don't overshoot, because I did the other day and then... Oh yeah, you know anything I tell you, it's because I've always...
Past experience.
Always.
I think that's my favourite square in this collection. It is so beautiful.
That's my favourite one.
I prefer the larger scale.
Yeah, that's it.
It's beautiful.
And also, with this one and this one, there are directional fabrics in them.
Perfect.
Because in fact, you've got it upside down. You cannot get the staff, can you?
I don't dress the set, my love.
You were the last one to touch it, though, John. So in my eyes...
Oh, everything's always my fault. We see...
Me too.
All right, I'll give you that one. I will say this, that has never been said before. I was wrong. And it's recorded forever now.
Have I made a man admit that?
I'm not quite sure how much of a man I am,
complete,
but yes,
John.
you made me admit it.
My life is complete. Now, last time I was on, I marked each of the sides.
You did.
I did, with in the centre.
Yes.
But the old brain got going, and I thought, well, why don't I just get a piece of card that's got that centre mark on for me?
Wendy, genius.
I did think about that, but it does say in the instructions to mark the centre. So I wasn't on with you last time. I think I was on with Vicky, wasn't I? No, I was on with you. Oh, no, I was on with you.
You were.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to interrupt your flow for one moment because our lovely Webs team have just brilliantly fixed the problem immediately. For some reason on the website, it mentioned that it was £37. We're happy if you want to pay that. That's not the price. It's $24.99. So just very quickly, what we'll do is we'll just show you what you're going to get in the, we're calling it the grey and pink puff cushion kit. Would you mind just putting the pattern where all your pins are? You can just put them on top.
I will. I've done
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am.
I've
Thank
done
you.
it.
You're getting the wonderful set of instructions. You're getting this wonderful panel, which has got 20 5-inch squares on it.
20 times 5, yes.
20. No, that's 100.
No,
20
20 times 5 inch. Sorry, you went 25 inch squares,
sorry,
but
correct.
some
Sorry,
people
it's my
might.
thick South African accent. Yeah. 20.
You did say
5-inch squares.
There was no pregnant pause in there.
And this is completely exclusive to us. We've then got a metre of this beautiful grey, school grey, and then half a metre of the ivory, and your toy stuffing, and the instructions for $24.99. So if you have checked out and it was marked at £37.99, don't worry, the web team will fix it. It will be corrected in your basket after the purchase, so don't worry about that.
Those naughty
And
gremlins,
now I
aren't
wonder,
they?
now wait, before I hear this, which one do you think is going to be the most popular? No pressure.
I like that one, but I bet you're going to tell me.
Oh, I love that one.
I bet you're going to tell me it's this one.
I'm going to go with this one as well. We're both going to say this one. Which one is it, Liam? The rainbow is the winner.
Ooh.
How extraordinary. I love that. But when we saw it on before, it was beautiful. You did a really good job.
I do like the
on
rainbow,
that.
and because you know my house is completely white, so that would just...
Nice pop of colour. If anybody does want to watch the show with Wendy and I on the 22nd of
Please
July,
don't.
please, it does come with a warning. Between the two of us, I'm not quite sure there was much of a demo. It's really great viewing. 22nd of July. Have a little check out on that and you can watch the video there. The fact that of all the shows I've done, I remember the date and time.
Was it? I thought it was my anniversary.
It was the anniversary.
That's not the...
What date was it then?
15th.
Sorry, 15th of July. 15th of July. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know why I thought the 22nd. 15th of July. Go and check that out. And that's got the panel on how to do it.
She says, don't go and check it out.
Yes, apparently I have very naughty eyes.
You have got
right,
very
so you've
naughty
made
eyes.
a template and you've marked the central section on your template to make
down
the
one
marking
side.
of your background squares.
In here, it tells you to get your ruler. So I've got my ruler and I've marked each of the sides.
Perfect.
But that took time. So I thought if I just got a template the size of the back and marked the centre, then that would make it a little bit easier for me. A lot easier. Now this part doesn't always behave.
What have you lost now?
Only me.
What have you lost?
My pins.
They're underneath that piece of fabric. No, right there by your right hand. This is why I love working with Wendy.
I should come with a warning, shouldn't I?
No, I love it. I love it.
How can you lose things?
Very
How can
easily.
you? So,
by the way, the instructions from the last hour were found the moment Wendy walked off set. Yes.
No, I found them before I even
I never
walked.
said who.
Oh,
The minute she walked off, oh, yeah, they are.
Oh, there they are, found them.
Love you to bits.
So I'm actually going to not have one that's marked. I'm going to show you how to do this method. So it doesn't matter where the slit is, which way it is, because again, it's not going to show when you're at the back. So then we take the top fabric, and it's all in the instructions. As I say, it's very important to get this to exactly the right size, but not so, because you'll see what I'm doing in a moment. And then I'm going to put one of the corners in the top corner. I don't know if you can see that. I'm leaving it very, very slightly.
Just stay exactly where you are.
Here he comes.
He's on
I
his
can
way.
hear him coming. So I'm leaving it very slightly in the corner. And the reason that we're doing that is so that when we put them together on the back here, these will match exactly.
Perfect.
If I let these go over a little bit, then it's going to be out of a line. So I like to make things as simple as they possibly can be. I'm a simple girl, John.
Nothing wrong with that. However you are, we love you just as you are.
Simple girl. And then we do all four corners to start off with. And my hands are not at all sweaty today, so I'm going to struggle with the next bit. But we'll see how that goes. And then
I was just looking to see if we had our little pointy stiletto thing, which has got a rubber...
Excuse me?
No, it is. It's this most brilliant tool that we sell, and it's got a rubber foot on it. So it's really good. It might be in that little box underneath there. It's a long blue pointy bit that's got like a hook.
Just going downstairs. Hold on.
It's a really good tool to be able to... That's it. That's it.
Oh, it's cold
Oh,
down
you
there.
need to do the lift. You need to do the lift thing. There we go. She's coming back up. But that is a really, really good tool to be able to use for that. So when you're needing to put... If you've got your finger on the top and you push that in, you can then get that nice and firm by using that.
I've never seen...
It's brilliant. So that helps you turning things through.
Wow. I have to go on the website later. So now we're going to use our little piece of card that's got the marker on. And I'm just going to line it up a little bit away so I can see that mark. And then I'm going to pull the fabric up so that it matches the centre, and then I'm going to push it down flat to form a pleat.
Perfect.
That one, that's the first time that's done that. First time.
No, it's not. They're always like that. I know they are.
But I just need to warn people, they're really not. Now, some people...
But it doesn't really matter if you're off-centre on this, does it? Okay. For us, it wouldn't really matter. For Wendy, it would.
I am teasing you. No, some people turn them to the left or the right, and that's absolutely fine. But if you do it in the middle each time, not only does it give you a nicer puff, it gives you a nice round puff. When you put them together, the puffs are in the same way, whereas if one was one way and one was the other, you'd have to match them up. But if you put them like this, but yeah, you can do them how you want.
Do them her way, she'll complain otherwise.
I won't. I won't. I really won't.
I love being able to joke with you.
I won't. I am the most laid-back person until I get behind a sewing machine, and then I'm a bit of a demon.
I've noticed. I really am joking. Sorry, that's the last bit of
But
fun.
I really do. No, I don't mind at all. My shoulders are broad enough. God, that's an old saying, isn't it? I am showing my age now, aren't I?
There's nothing wrong with getting older. It's a privilege denied to many.
I keep looking in the mirror and think, who's that?
Oh, God, I keep looking at myself on the television and thinking, gosh, there's my mother. It's true.
Oh, I'm not even going to go there. But you are only as young as you feel. Right. I was waiting for a little comment then, but you were kept very quiet. You behaved, didn't you?
Try.
So I've pinned all...
So how far in are you going with those pins? Is about an inch?
Right. The corner ones put in right in the corner. The ones down the side, bring far enough back so that they will not touch the foot, because then you can just leave them in the end and until the end until you've sewn round them. If you try and take them out, then
you're going to manipulate everything. Well, the point of pinning
pops out, doesn't it?
Now, in the corners, will you take the pin out as you go?
You've done it for me, haven't you? Thank you very much, because I left it all how I had it before.
Well, before I wiped it down, I did.
But yes, you've left it. Thank you very much. Yes, the ones in the corners, I don't know about you, John. I think you're the same as me. Going over pins is a real no-go.
I never do it.
I would never, ever. I had not a very good experience years and years ago, and I would never do it again. So the corner ones, yes, take out as you go. But if you push these ones far enough back, you don't need to. So I'm going to take that first one out, and I'm going to start in the corner. Now, I'm going to be doing a tacking stitch, so I'm going to take it up to a 3, 3.5, because all I'm doing at the moment is holding these in place, and I need to come into 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be exact, but it has to be within that 1/4 inch seam allowance when we go to put the puffs together. So
if you don't know what a tacking stitch is, all that would be is you lengthening the stitch of your sewing machine to be able to make your stitch length that little bit wider, which means it just holds everything together but doesn't draw it in completely. And all we've done to do that is adjusted the stitch length to a 3 or a 3.5, whichever you prefer. It just gives you that nice extra little bit of seam length. Stitch length to be able to hold everything together nicely.
Yeah, the main 3 ones that you would use are the tacking stitch, or the seam stitch, or a top stitch. Yes. And a top stitch is simply decorative. By the time you've got to a top stitch, you've already sewn the seam, haven't you? And I would go a little bit longer with the top stitch, because especially when you're working in lots of layers, then it flows through really easily. If you go down, then it's going to, you may get snags and pulls. I'm just going all the way round.
That one.
It is, but then it wouldn't behave when I went round. Oh, it does now. It's because it's got you. It's got you watching, hasn't it? You've scared it into submission.
Scare it into submission.
I wanted it to stay down, but I should be pushing something. So I've gone all the way around the outside.
And that's an 1/8 of an inch on a tacking stitch all the way.
Well, it should be an 1/8 of an inch.
It is an 1/8 of an inch. It is an 1/8 of an inch.
It is an 1/8
White
of an
thread,
inch.
no one can see. And at that point, you then take all the pins
Then you take the pins out. Remember, take the corner ones out as you go. If you've put them far enough back, and I would do that because it's nice to keep that down. I have gone a little bit over, but as long as you're going within the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, it doesn't matter. These aren't going to show. I would say you don't have to do this part. You could just go straight ahead and put them together. Personally, I wouldn't, because I like to work with fabric as a whole piece. So I've turned 2 pieces of fabric now into 1 piece.
But that one tiny little bit of an extra strip is going to make it a lot easier, so you're not accidentally missing a fold, you're not actually catching something. I think it's a much better idea to doing it that way.
I think, and we all have our own ways of doing things, but when something works for me, I tend to stick with it. So I'm just going to do, we have got time, haven't we?
Yes, you're fine.
Oh, that's okay. I might actually finish something today.
Knowing you, you'll have the whole cushion back.
Might not.
Of course you will.
And these are such fun to make. And as you say, they're a little bit more puffy, so then when you sit on them or sit against them...
you've got that extra support on it as well. Well, the reason I bought mine was because my chair is just the wrong height for where I sit at my studio. That the arms of the chair, it's a really comfy chair, but the arms hit the table. So I either got to raise the table or
I was going to say, can't you
lower the chair. So if I lower the chair, then I'm too low. So getting one of these is the perfect height, because then the arms go underneath the chair.
See, I did say to you, you said it had gone perfect. This one is not playing ball, so you
Do you want me to stare it into submission for you?
I've done it.
There we go. See, it's terrifying.
I'd hate to think that people think I'm a bit scary, or you're a bit scary. You're not scary.
You should see me in the morning before my coffee.
I was really good, actually. I haven't had one.
What?
I know.
This is you on your own.
Exactly.
I love it.
This is me. This is me
Love
raw.
it.
I haven't actually had one all morning, which is...
I think I've had 6 already.
Oh, no way. I'd be on the ceiling running around.
It's probably why I can't sleep.
I couldn't last night, actually. I don't know whether it's the wind or...
We had so much rain as well. It was lovely.
Oh, it could have been the rain, yeah.
The pressure, I think, changes.
We do need it, though, don't we?
So you're now making 3 of these to go onto the extra layer there.
I am. I
did look at that and think you could actually do a nice rectangular cushion as well.
Ooh. I'm not going to, but you could, couldn't you? Yes. But as I say, once you get it home, you can do...
I wonder if you could do a 2x10 for a nice bolster one.
I was actually thinking, and I'm not sure how many it would take. You would probably have to use your own colourway, or it might not. You might have to just back it. How about one for the bottom of a bed? I know. 3, I would say. You'd probably get away with 3. I would do 4 wide.
I look forward to seeing it the next time you're on.
I've got so many things in to do. It's lovely.
Well, after your gorgeous kits this morning, you're going to have to be under your designing skills for the next
I love doing that, and I could just lose hours and hours, and it's not a waste because you are creating.
Exactly. And obviously everybody loved it because you sold out.
I'm so happy about that.
That's wonderful. I'm very proud of you.
And I hope people send me some pictures when they've made them.
Well, just keep going on the fans page. There's so many amazing mates on there, going back for ages.
There are so many talented people out there.
There really are. We're very lucky in our community.
They are an amazing community.
Amazing.
If someone posts a question wanting to know to do something, there's always someone there to help, which is really, really lovely. And I still, I've been sewing for 40 years and I still
we
learn.
have a little announcement on a stock warning. Could I ask you please, ma'am, to hold up the rainbow kit? So, reminder, you're getting the instructions, you're getting your toy stuffing, you're getting 40 of these beautiful rainbow panel squares, you're getting 1 metre of the gold, half a metre of the cream for £24.99, and we are now officially at limited stock on this rainbow bundle here. Remember, if you want to see the finished product and how it was made, the 15th of July was the day Wendy and I made that together. You can definitely get yourself a cup of tea and have a giggle at our little show there. We're trying to be very well behaved today.
I
think we're doing quite well.
I'm being really well behaved today. I did warn you though, didn't I?
Warn me what? What have you lost now?
My marbles, I think. Let's use. I was thinking about the colour. So that one was going to go opposite to that one. That one was. See, that will do, won't it? So yeah, I'd say there is always method in my madness.
Can you drag that a little bit towards you, the finished puffs? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Do you want to just show the viewers while you've got that there, your organised random? I love it. I know. I think it's really important because a lot of people don't show this. And the good thing with this is it is random, but because you've matched the corners and because you've matched the opposites for the cross, it does appear at first glance to be random. But because you've got those tones and everything together, I think it's genius.
I knew that I would get round it, you see. When I open the panel, it's like, they're all different.
But it's great because Tom's such a great designer with this. He'll be able to get all these tonally the same. It's brilliant.
And that's the thing. They do all work so well with each other. But yeah, they are random in a ordered way. But I think, and I promise you, John, I am getting better.
But there's nothing to get better. I think it's great people don't like to sort it that way, that they need that. You're the one who's got to look at it for the rest of your life. You've got to be happy with it. So however you do it, enjoy it.
No, I do try to do random because I think sometimes actually not thinking about things and just doing it, you get the best results. Anyway.
Not always.
Not always.
Sometimes.
That's a baby pleat because I've given up on him because he wouldn't behave. And when you do pin the pleat, make sure that you pin both sides of it. And I'll show you. So I really need to be sweating, don't I? Because my hands are so...
So my pointy little stick wouldn't help you for
I
this.
was... No, I didn't want to upset you then,
You're not
John.
going to upset at all.
I didn't want to upset you.
No one
Didn't want the
upsets
wrath
me.
of John.
Oh, don't be silly.
So when I'm pinning the pleat, I pin both sides of it. Because if you only pin one side, it
It can
pops
pop
out.
out.
It doesn't behave. Because you're trying to make something fit that's not the same size. So there's always going to be that
I have to
defiance
say,
there.
your idea there with the template is genius. I think that's such a good sort of sewing hack, for the want of a better description.
I love sewing. I want to be there. And I don't want to be here, I want to be sewing. So I thought anything that would reduce the time. But I'm also fully aware that a lot of people find it very therapeutic to go through that whole process of marking everything up, cutting everything out. And it is a whole process. And it's quite amazing when you think that something that started off just like that ends up
Being
three-dimensional.
so incredible this way as well.
But that's with any makes, isn't it? I'm marvelled. A bit like the washing machine, again, all over again, John.
What's that?
What did that do? I don't ever remember being that kind of child. I'm sure I didn't. I know that I had a pen in my hand when I was really young, and my nan bought me a sewing machine when I was about 9, and within 5 minutes I was really angry with it because it was going really slow. And it didn't have a reverse stitch and it didn't have a back stitch, but I made all my Cindy's outfits, and so you can imagine what I'm like with these machines, John, at the Marvels. Oh, it does that. It does everything for you. Right.
I get intimidated by sewing machines.
Do not.
I know, it's silly, but it's just one of those things that it's just something really...
You are in charge of that. That is not in charge of
not.
you. You are. But no, joking aside, I think a lot of people tend to give up when it goes wrong.
Yes.
And they're a machine at the end of the day. You wouldn't drive
And
your
it's
car
your fault.
without petrol, would you? Well, it is.
It's your fault, it's a machine.
But it may be it might be nothing more than it needs rethreading and the needle changing.
Exactly.
Because again, people don't realise that you have to change your needles after. You should change them after every project.
Exactly.
But, I mean, who
But
does?
I have to say, we've got a phenomenal selection of sewing machines on here. They really are.
I mean, I have
Well,
the
I got
best
my
job in the world.
720 here,
But
it's
I
beautiful.
get to play with them all, and I don't know the price point of this one, but even this one is.
It's a lovely machine. It sews really well.
Now, what we're going to do, I've done 2 rows already, so I'm now going to join these together, and because I have,
We've got 20 minutes left. You've got fine.
because I've put that backing fabric. Because I put the front fabric slightly behind the backing fabric, you can't see it, which now means these match exactly.
Perfect.
I'm just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to take it back down to a 2.4 or 2.6 because I want it to be a seam now rather than a tacking seam. And I'm going to reverse at both ends. And that's only because when you pull it, it's not going to come undone. And then we do... Oh, I had a little bit of a panic then. I thought for a moment I put the wrong one in the middle.
All you would do is rotate it
Of course,
round.
I just, you know, like when you say something and as soon as it comes out of your mouth, you think, that was silly.
No, I've never had that experience.
That was silly. I do it every day. Sometimes I'm always answering myself. I ask a question, it's like, no, actually, I know the answer to that.
Is your husband in the room at the time?
No, men have a habit, sorry, all you men out there, of asking for something. Where's this? And it's literally right in front of them. So I'm not quite that bad. I will go hunting for something.
Wendy?
He does.
No, Wendy.
He does.
I'm not going to make this a gender thing, but could I ask you just one quick question? How many times today have you asked me where everything is?
Oh, yes.
Just
That's
checking.
okay. That's okay. Yes, you're right.
We love you exactly as you are. It's wonderful.
All right. And this time you do press.
Okay.
So you
From the back?
Yes. And I press my seams open.
Have we left the iron on for you?
I can't think it was the other day. Did the trick where you do that and then that, which is much more sensible.
Oh, yes, I saw it as well.
Much more sensible, isn't it, than going...
It was who? Gemma from Pattern Preacher, that's who
Brilliant.
it was.
That was
very
a brilliant tip.
Gosh, that was only 2 days ago.
Was it?
It was.
And it's Friday today. I cannot believe it's Friday.
I can't believe I got 2 weeks off.
Oh.
I can't wait.
What are you going to do?
Well, I don't want to make a joke of it, but I'm going to spend 2 weeks in effective lockdown. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to my studio and I'm going to pack up our house and sort it out.
I think sometimes you just need to recharge your batteries, don't you? Now we're going to add...
It's the wrong way around. Just checking.
I would have got there once I'd sewn it, wouldn't I? And then I'd have had to... But the unpicker is your friend.
But the great thing there is you've done exactly the same thing on each side of those. This one you'll line up and it'll be exactly the same thing, just a longer seam. How are you matching up your points in the middle?
Right. This is the reason I sew them...
You press them open.
Open. That's the word I was looking for, John. Such a small word that I lost it for a moment.
I lose it often, don't worry. As long as that's all you're losing.
Press the seam open. If you were to press them on either side, this little bit that I'm going to do is a little bit more tricky. So then all I'm going to do is, and you can mark 1/4 of an inch down if you want to, but I'm just going to push it through the seam, making sure
Leave it exactly where you are. They're
that
on their
it
way.
comes out the other side. Well, I'm glad.
Perfect.
So it's come out the other side, and then I would line these up and push it through the other side. Oh, that one went in a dream.
Perfect.
So they're both in the same place now. My hands are so cold. It is cold outside today. It was a bit of a shock. It was a bit of a shock this morning getting up and it was dark.
By the time I arrive here every morning, it's still dark, so it's no unusual for me. We had that wonderful period in summer just before the solstice. At about sort of 5 o'clock, everything was just getting light, and it's that drive and that early is so beautiful.
That always reminds me of holidays. When we used to go away on holidays and catch the early morning flight, you'd have.
Back in the day, we could.
I was going to say back in the day, but we will get back there soon. Now, because these centre points are matched, don't force these. Just offer them, and I don't normally pin, but I'm going to pin because I'm.
It's live telly. What could possibly go wrong?
But I'm, like you, fairly confident with my machine at home.
Yeah.
This isn't mine. He is my friend today. He has behaved.
You shouldn't have said that.
But then
You've got about 15 minutes.
If it breaks, or not, if it breaks, it won't break.
We have several over there. You'll be fine.
If it starts to mess around, then at least maybe I'll try and sort it out, and then people can see that it happens to everyone.
Of course it does.
And that's what I was saying before with the machine. Very often it is something so simple, but people get scared of them. And also they need cleaning regular because they get all fluff inside them. Do you clean yours regularly, John?
I try and do once a week. I try and have all, because I use a lot. I do a lot of sewing. So my big beast, I do easily 30 hours a week. So at least once a week I try and do that.
No, that's good. If you get into the habit.
And the good thing is Sylvia has a list of things I have to do. So when she comes in, she is so brilliant. She manages everything and says, right, do
that's
that,
really
do this.
good.
It's brilliant. I'd be lost without her. I'm going to miss having Sylvia in the studio for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
It's going to be great. She's got a little holiday.
You won't know what to do with yourself. You'll be having a little secret dance around there, won't you?
No, not at all. She has told me that if she comes back and the studio's messy, she's going to be very cross. So I've got to make sure that 2 days before she comes back in, I tidy the studio.
Oh, we've all done that.
is
If we know someone's
brilliant.
coming around,
Exactly.
it gets shoved everywhere,
But
doesn't
the
it?
cleaning that happens 15 minutes before somebody comes round. Now, that is fantastic. Now, you're going to be stuffing this now?
No.
Okay.
No, I did say last time, I got a little bit carried away. Don't stuff your puffs until you've made the cushion.
Perfect.
Because, well, you can do.
But the backing, because I know you back that. At what point do you back it? Because you've got to have the stuffing in it before you back it.
Make the whole cushion.
Okay.
That one hasn't been backed. You don't have to.
Oh, do you not back them? Oh, right. You can just do the tacking stitches on each one.
If you back or if you don't back, do the stitching, sew the hole closed, because if you don't sew them but you put a backing on, as you put it through the wash, it is going to come out. So definitely tack the little hole up at the back, and then once you've made the whole cushion, then you would put just a plain panel on the back. Yeah, I did say last time to stuff it. So the next thing that we're going to do, so this is a big 5x5 cushion, but I say that's really cute. I mean,
It's
if you've
very
got
sweet.
You've got a caravan, how dinky would they be?
See, I'm thinking as well, if you've got a kitten, or a little kitten, that could be a nice little soft toy for the kitten to sleep on and to nest on. I know, that's what I mean, a tiny little kitten.
Tiny little kitten.
The thing is, you can imagine if I had a pet, it would have a cushion for every week if it was alive.
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
That's wonderful. They become part of your family.
Yeah, well, I mean, our dog...
So you're going to do some piping now?
I'm going to do piping, non-piping.
Piping, non-piping.
Piping that pretends to be piping, but it isn't really piping. So that it looks like piping, but there's no cord in there. I don't think, you don't always have to have. And the cords are, again, a little bit scary for people because you have to keep that, you have to sew the piping first with the cording before you put it in.
Right.
Right, I'm just going to cut so that you can see what I'm doing. And it's, as I say, it's all in the instructions.
I haven't seen
You have those ones.
I'll have these.
Oh, right. So it's...
So the new rules and all that?
Yes. It states in there, and I would cut these all afterwards because if you're not using a 1/4 inch foot, although it's better if you do it a bit bigger, then the measurements, if I were to give you measurements exact, it might not be right. So I said before, I always give you a little bit more and then you can cut it off because you can't add it on afterwards. So I think they were 1 inch strips. I think they were. Were they 1 inch strips, John? Did you have a look? You didn't have a look, did you? You just
I wasn't
pretended to
looking at
look
that
at my instructions, didn't you?
Half an inch.
They can't be half an inch.
Fold the long sides of the top piping strip together, wrong sides together, and iron flat to. Oh, must be an inch. Sorry, I'm with you now.
I was going to say, if you fold half an inch in half and then sew a seam, it's going to
You know what I love about these? Every single one of them normally says at the very beginning, read the entire pattern first. How many times do none of us do that?
Me. Well, it's like with anything.
Cut 2 19 by 1 inch strips for the top and bottom piping in white fabric.
Brilliant.
Cut 2 22 by 1 inch strips for the side piping.
So they're 1 inch, and as I say, they're just dummy. They're just there. You don't have to put them in if you don't want
the
to.
instructions out. I apologise.
It's okay. So we're going. Well, I'm going to cut the instructions now. So all I'm doing is cutting one. Oh, it's so nice to have a ruler that's not got a wonky edge, John.
So you did your ruler test that I showed you with that piece of paper.
Did.
Every ruler in my studio had to be replaced.
Mine definitely does.
It's terrifying. If anybody hasn't seen my little ruler trick, while Wendy's cutting out 60
Not
pieces of
good.
fabric, please don't fall on the floor, please don't fall on the floor.
Go on,
Where
fall
you
on the
have your
floor.
little ruler at home, take a standard piece of paper, and I'm not folding that back, and where you've got this little piece of paper, line it up against your ruler and try and see if you can push it through. And if there's an area, oh, there is an area.
No, you can actually see the desk is a bit.
So where the area goes through, check that whether it's your desk or whether it's your ruler, because when you're using a rotary cutter and cutting in one specific section, you wear your ruler out. So if your seams aren't matching and you've had a ruler for many years, I had mine for about 4 years, and it was literally in the middle, 1/8 of an inch out, because I'd done so much cutting against it. Make sure you check your rulers as you go. And just a simple piece of paper, try and see if it'll squeeze under. If it doesn't, you're absolutely fine. Just check all 4 ends with a simple piece of paper all the way through. And if your paper comes through, check that your ruler is actually in fact straight. What you can do to test it, the area where the paper came through, take a chalk or a pencil, draw on a piece of paper, and then take another ruler, draw a straight line, and you'll see just how out you are on your ruler and how it's worn away. These rulers are really, really great, and they last for a very long time, but they do wear out like everything in life. So make sure you just keep on top of that, because it can be a reason why your seams aren't working.
You could get a book under
And I have
mine,
to
John.
say, the Creative Grids rulers, it's worth having a little look at these. This, I think, is my best ruler. Have you used this one? 6.5 by 12.5 inches. It's my favourite ruler from Creative Grids after the hexagon trim tool.
I like the long one because
Yeah.
my favourite
when
ones
you're
are the
doing
ones with the, what are they
The
called?
Stripology, oh, we've got those on at 11 o'clock.
Have
But
you?
this is such a great ruler if you're doing work and you just need a little ruler, because those big rulers, if you're sitting at your desk and doing work, they're a bit too big.
That is perfect though, because I don't take my long one because it's not as transportable. That would be perfect.
I got one of those foldy ones before, and they were good. They're 6.5 inch by 24.5 inches. The problem is I put it in my bag and the tape at the back came off when I put something on top of it. So that was a little bit of annoying.
But that is a fantastic size to transport. That really is.
I love this ruler.
So I've made my 4 piping, non-piping, because they're not really piping. They're pretending to be piping. And then I'm going
Did you search the quilting term I gave you the last time? To see that it was a quilting term. You're ignoring me now. That's fine.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Did.
Yes,
I wasn't wrong, was I?
You weren't wrong,
Thank
no.
you. We'll leave that at that. We'll leave that right there.
I know you were wrong earlier this morning, but you weren't wrong on that one, no, John. Right.
I was mistaken. I wasn't wrong. I was mistaken.
But but it's funny. I'm not a quilter. I've made that. I'm no secret that I wasn't. So I hadn't seen that before, but I now know what it is.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether I like it or not. But it did make me giggle. So the sizes are in there. I'm only because and again, it's great to show people that if they do want to change the sizing of it, this is what you would do. So I'm now, as I always do, want to make these one piece of material because it's much easier to work with one. So all I'm going to be doing is sewing another tacking stitch on the 1/8 of an inch.
Perfect.
And I've lined it so that I've got a little bit showing each end.
3.5. 3.5. You haven't moved your stitch length. You said a tacking stitch. Just checking.
Oh, it's a good job you're on the ball today, isn't it? See, maybe I should have had that coffee, shouldn't I? Maybe. You're not saying anything, are you, John? You're just smiling. Oh, you did. I saw the eyes. Everything. I saw the eyes. It's nice to have sparkly eyes, though.
You're very kind.
It is nice to have sparkly eyes. So I'm doing it top and bottom. So I'm doing exactly the same this side. And the reason I am cutting it, I've left it a little bit longer so that I can cut it off after. Because remember, John, what can't you do?
Put it back together.
You can't add it back on once you've cut it off if it's too short. Well, you could, but you'd have a join, wouldn't you?
I think you've got just under 5 minutes.
Okay. Are you trying to rush me, John?
Not at all. I'm just keeping you abreast with the time.
Oh. Brilliant. Fantastic. Now, I just had a thought. I do these things when I'm in bed. This is...
You're not in bed.
Oh, not now. When I am in bed. You know, like when you go...
I just had a thought. I always have those when I'm in bed. I'm like, am I missing something here?
Oh, it's wishful thinking, isn't it?
Steady on.
Oh, stop it, John. Right. Oh, no, you put me all a dither now.
Right, pointing to the border, yes?
No. When this is double,
yes.
Because I wanted it to be nice and rigid.
Yes.
You don't have to have it double if you don't want to. So again, that's a little bit more material that you can...
What do you mean double? The piping?
No, the border.
Oh, right, sorry, yes, I'm with you now.
So the border, I do double.
You do it double there. Sorry, when you say double, I thought you were referring to the piping, and I was like, but then you'd have a raw edge out there. That was why I got confused.
Okay.
But I see what you mean, the border at the top.
Well, don't confuse me, John, because then we've got no chance if we're both standing here confused, are we? So you don't have to have it double if you don't want to. But I'm just thinking, like, people like me, a little bit frugal, might want to get the maximum amount of their material. So you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And I did also think you could actually put... I can't even think what the word I'm looking for that. Yes, but...
H640, wadding.
You could do that after, but you really... Because you've got to stuff the puffs, so you might not be able to do that. So
but if you were putting a backing piece on it, you could put the backing piece and put the thermolan on the backing piece, do the quilting on that, stuff your puffs, and then put it on before you finish off the cushion.
Right, I'll leave that one over to you, John, because I'm sorry I switched off after about 2 seconds, and I thought, yeah, that sounds...
I hope the viewers don't do that. That kind of defeats the object. Sorry, John, I stopped listening after you open your mouth. That's great. Thanks, Wendy. You're doing real justice to me today.
No, you made me forget what I was... You've lost
Right, we're running out of time.
So I'm going to do it double. And then what you would do this part before you put the sides on, because then you're going to create that bit there. Okay?
Perfect.
So I'm just, this time we do sew our 1/4 inch seam, and I'm doing it, I think I've explained this before, I'm doing it actually on the folded edge, so that you've got a little bit more wiggle room when you fold it back. Yeah.
If anybody has missed any of this and you did want to see more, have a look on the 15th of July. You can then go and see how that was all put together from there.
Definitely.
You're in for a good giggle too.
See, I just love sewing because I just get lost in the moment. I do a lot of my designing thinking when I'm sewing. I think, oh, that would work. So now we've created our piping. And because I didn't cut it off before, so now I'm going to iron it. And because I did do it on the folded edge, you see you've got a little bit more wiggle room here now. Whereas if you'd have
But it also strengthens your cushion as well.
I prefer doing double, but I'm just thinking of the people that maybe want to use the material for something else. And then you would do exactly, so how much time have we got?
Got about 1.5 minutes. Call that a day.
So you don't really want me to see me just
do you want to show people how they square up that edge?
Because
I think that's an important one that people might not know.
It is, because
you're repeating the same process on the other side.
All you're doing is doing exactly the same, and then the sides are again the same. And when you're squaring off, always make sure that you're working away from you, never work towards you. And this side is done, so I would line it up,
Or don't cut it off, you can then finish off later.
I will, I make sure this is finished. And I would be looking at a couple of things. So I would be looking just to check I'm in line there, and then also down this side. And then we just square it off.
But that's what's so great about these rulers, is you've got all those lines that you can line up, the central seams, everything. Just take your time and line everything up beautifully.
And then with that one, I would either turn the whole cushion round and work away from me, or I would turn it over.
Oh.
So you can do it both ways.
Perfect.
So,
that's a great tip.
Are you telling me that we finished now, John?
You've got about 12 seconds.
Well, I was going to say...
You've got more than that. I just thought I'd see what you did.
That's fine, you won't panic me. So now we've got a straight edge ready to do exactly the same process for the other side.
Perfect. Brilliant. So let's just do a very quick recap of what we've got today. And if I could have my trusty assistant, if you wouldn't mind, popping the instructions exactly there. We'll start off with the... Which one?
We can't do that one because that one's gone.
So we'll do the raspberry puff. So let's try that one. So you're going to get 20 of these gorgeous squares. These are all exclusive to Sewing Street. Got all these wonderful designs there. You're getting 20 of those 5-inch squares, brand new to us today. You're also getting 1 metre of this beautiful raspberry fabric, 1/2 metre of the ivory, the set of instructions that are underneath there, and this wonderful toy stuffing for £24.99. Next, we're going to do the one that we were just demonstrating. So I'll take that. You can take those. We're getting a wonderful pattern again. The pattern comes with every kit, as well as this 250 grams of polyester toy stuffing. You've also got this 20 beautiful, beautiful ditzy prints on here. 5-inch squares. You're getting 20 of those. You're getting 1 metre of the school grey and 1/2 metre of the ivory. And that's also £24.99. Then we've got the Copen. This is our Copen blue colourway. Copen Summer, is it? I think it's Copen Summer. Now this one, you're getting a much bigger panel. And if I could ask my trusty assistant to expand the entire panel.
You want me to be a what again, don't you?
You're lovely. You're getting 40 5-inch squares here. You'll see you're getting 2 of every single one of the designs, 20 unique designs. You're then also getting 1 metre of the teal, 1/2 metre of the cream, and that lovely panel, as well as the toy stuffing, for £24.99. Now the rainbow, we are almost sold out on that, so we're not going to refresh that. So, Wendy, thank you so much. When are you back in?
The 9th, I think, but it might not be.
Check our social media, and don't forget to sign up to our newsletter, because you get informed every 2 or 3 days about what's coming up with our next designers and everything. Wendy, thank you so much for being part of this. It's been lovely to have you. Have a great day and a safe trip home.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing Street, and these are my 5 top tips for successful sewing. So, number 1, always use a good quality thread. A good quality thread will keep your seams stronger and also help to prevent lint building up inside your sewing machine. Tip number 2, if your project isn't going quite according to plan, put it down, walk away from it, come back again the next day, and you'll probably find that things don't seem half as bad as they did. My tip number 3, never throw away your sewing machine manual. Always keep it to hand, because you're going to find hints and tips, techniques and troubleshooting in that manual. You'll miss it if you lose it. My tip number 4 is to read your pattern instructions before you even cut out your fabric. Different manufacturers of patterns will give you different instructions, different ways of constructing your garments and different seam allowances. So to have a successful garment, you need to follow the instructions precisely. And then tip number 5 is don't give up. Every professional sewer sewed their first seam. Every professional quilter quilted their first quilt. Every professional quilter sewed their first line of wonky stitches and had to get out the quick and pick. That's no different to you. So I hope you find these useful. If you want more hints and tips, then why not go to Sewing Street on channel 74 on Freeview, on Sky 670, and of course we have a YouTube channel where you can catch up on previous demonstrations. We'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great,
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
and it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
Hello, I'm Kerry from Living in Loveliness and I'm delighted to be part of the Sewing Street team. I'm based in Wolverhampton and I absolutely love working with fabulous fabrics. In particular, I love working with fat quarters and showing you how to get the most from your scraps. I love bringing communities of sewists together and encouraging people to sew for greater causes. Most recently, we have been sewing for our NHS and key workers. I look forward to bringing you hints, tips and techniques. I'll see you soon.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Hello everyone, I'm Delphine Brooks. It's so great to be here and part of the Sewing Street family. I'm local, I'm only down the road in Warwickshire. I started sewing many years ago when I was very young, doing lots of art and painting, and eventually I went into textiles and I really enjoyed doing the two together. I then had a bit of a break. Something you don't know about me maybe is that I spent many years in the Royal Air Force and eventually in the police as well. And then I went full circle and I've come back to my happy place of sewing, and which I really enjoy. My best sewing tip is measure twice and cut once. I have chipped up a couple of times by not measuring properly, and I do always regret it. So now I always measure twice, cut once. Anyway, I really hope to be with you again soon, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Hello, welcome back to our fabulous tool hour. I love these. We've got loads of different products for you today. So let's start off with our fabulous Stripology. Just moving these out the way. We've got our fabulous Stripology. Now this is the normal size Stripology, not the XL. This is such a wonderful, wonderful ruler. So I'm going to show you how best to use this. Now every time you get a Stripology, you get a Creative Grids ruler, because Stripology is made by Creative Grids, you'll notice that you've got two sides to it. The front side here is what you would have on a normal traditional ruler. And you can see as the light hits that, you'll see this is a nice slippy surface that you'd have on most of the rulers that you buy. But with Creative Grids, you'll see as the lights hit, you've got these wonderful sections here that are actually, they're a beveled edge, if you like, and they create these non-slip grips. Now, if I put a ruler down like this, which doesn't have the non-slip grips, which is a normal ruler that most of us would buy, if I then move it, you can see that it moves very, very freely. Now, if I rotate this round, and because I've got the Creative Grids grip dots on there, or in this case, the grip slides, as I try and move that, it's gripping onto the fabric, so it doesn't allow the fabric to move anywhere near as much as if it didn't have those dots. Now, this Stripology ruler is fabulous because we've got a wonderful piece of fabric here. It is the full width of fabric, so you can see I've got this folded into 4. It's a full width of fabric. All I've done is fold it in half, selvage to selvage, and then folded it in half again. Then what I'm doing over here is I'm lining up my black line with the bottom of the fabric. I'm just going to move this ever so slightly over. Lining this up here, you see the black line lines up with the back of the fabric. And over here, I'm checking that that's all in a line up there. Right, and now to create every single piece of fabric that we get, you're always going to have to neaten off that first edge. And you can see I've just moved that a little bit in. And I'm now going to put my rotary cutter into the little slit over here. And I'm going to cut through that. Now that rotary cutter blade is dead. Where's my rotary cutters gone? I will use this one. So now on the bottom of each of these rulers, if I just slide this up again, you will notice that there is stars for 1.5 inches and squares for 2.5 inches. The great thing about this is that if you're wanting to cut 2.5-inch strips, you don't have to look for the measurements, you just look for the stars, for the squares. So what I'm doing now, I get rid of my dead edge there that I've created, my nice flat straight edge. I reline my fabric up, check everything's in order, and I'm now going to cut a series of 2.5-inch strips. Looking for those squares as I go along the piece of fabric and along the ruler. And all you do now is you just gently cut all the way through, and you can see I can get 5 pieces of 2.5-inch fabric out of that piece there. Now that is just the most perfect way of cutting perfect 2.5-inch pieces of fabric all the way along. Now that is the main purpose of the Stripology ruler. However, there is a wonderful addition to this that most people don't know about or don't use. I love doing diamonds. I love having 60-degree diamonds. I love being able to make those. So what you do now is on your wonderful mat that you use, you'll see on all mats you've got these wonderful degree lines as you go along. I'm lining this up with the 30-degree line. And because I've got 2 layers of fabric, I'm just double checking I've got these all perfectly lined up. I then take my Stripology ruler exactly like I did before and I line that up with the mat. Now you'll see I've marked it up with the mat, and my first cut is going to be here. Now I'm going to have to do this. So over here I'm getting my 0 line and I'm creating my first cut there. Now again, I cut these 2.5-inch wide. I'm going to keep going 2.5 inches all the way along. And because you've got those squares on your fabric, on your ruler, you don't even need to think about those 2.5-inch marks because it's already lined up for you. And now I've created these wonderful diamonds. So if you want to then create the corners of a lone star, you've then started the process of being able to cut these out really easily in order to have your 9 stars. So if you were doing these in different color fabrics, you could then pop these in as you go along and stitch them up as you go. And the stitching process is really easy. You just fold this over here. You make sure you've got a 1/4 inch over there and a 1/4 inch over there, and you stitch line a 1/4 inch down there, fold it open, and it works perfectly. So the Stripology, most people just assume you can cut long strips of fabric for binding, and you can. It's perfect for that. But you've also got the ability to be able to do at an angle as well, which is great. Now, if you're wanting to do this for 45-degree diamonds as well, you can do that exactly the same. All you do then is you take your strip of fabric, you line it up with your 45-degree line. I'm going to move this a little bit up the ruler, up the cutting mat. And you do exactly the same process. Make sure you line your ruler up with your mat. Trim off your first edge. And then you get 2.5, 2.5. And you keep going all the way down. Obviously the angle means you can cut fewer diamonds as you go through. But there you go, you've got this wonderful star developing, being able to cut those out as well. So the ruler is a fantastic way of being able to cut fabric really, really accurately, being able to cut long strips of fabric really, really accurately, but equally being able to make sure that you've got these fabulous diamonds as well. Because if you didn't want to do them as a lone star, you can do these as creating a normal star. And you can see you've got these two different stars that you can easily then be able to make. The 45-degree angles, you'd be able to you'd have 8 of these to go around, whereas the 60-degree angles, you'd have 6, making up your 360. And it's just such a nice way of trying something different. So if you did make that, the 60-degree star, if we imagined that this was a different color, you could then go and put these in the corner to highlight your star by just being able to go through this whole process and do it. It's just a nice way of being able to use these rulers in a different way than you may have expected to use it. Because as I've said, most people think of the Stripology being able to create long strips of 2.5 inches. You sew those together for your binding, voila, you're done. But equally, if you wanted to do smaller pieces, you wanted to do a 1.5 inch, you just follow the stars. So you've got a star there, and a star there, and you can get your 1.5 inch strips out. So that's the Stripology side of things. So the Stripology squared ruler has also got another function, which most people, well, I love, is if you're wanting to just cut squares, and you can see I'm cutting this very, very safely and very, very raggedly. And what I do now is I'm just going to cut 2 squares off here. And you can tell those have been very roughly cut, very poorly, don't recommend it. And all we do now, let's say we put that in. And I'm going to try and get an 8.5 inch triangle, 8.5 inch square out of it. So there are 2 ways you can do this. First things first is you'll notice that you don't have a straight edge over there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make that my straight edge. So I've lined, you can see the black square that we've got over here. I'm now taking the fabric in there, putting that there. I'm going to do an 8.5, actually I can do a 9 inch square on this. So I'm going to pop my rotary cutter in my 9 inch section there, push that down, and take that out. I then pick my, try not to move your fabric if you can, and you've got 2 straight sides. Now because you've got the 2 straight sides, when you rotate this round, when you line these up with your 0 and your 9 inch, they're perfectly straight and they're perfectly ready to do. I now line up my black line at the bottom there because we know that's straight, we've just cut it. We know that our 9 inch line up there is completely straight because we've just cut it. And you'll see over here, we've got a slight wobble in this fabric over here. So I'm pulling that away, putting my rotary cutter into the 0 section, cut that along there, go into the 9 inch and put that over there. And I pull these off and I've got the perfect 9 inch square. That is exactly perfect as a 9 inch square. So this Stripology ruler works not only for making your squares, and you can do them in different sizes as well. You'll see all the increments as you go along. It's a really handy size to be able to use. Now this one's £44.99 and it's a fabulous, fabulous addition. What we also have is the Stripology mini ruler. This is exactly the same technology, exactly the same idea. This one is just a bit smaller, and this one will be able to cut you a 6.5 inch square, and your fabric pieces that you're going to be cutting would be roughly 7 inches wide. So with a normal piece of fabric that you've got about that long, that might be a bit wide. So all you do then is you rotate that over. Because you want to create a nice straight edge, I'm going to keep my selvage all lined up, ready to go. I line that all up. I'm lining the edge of my ruler up with the edge of my selvage. I plop that into my 0 line and I cut that across there. So I've got my nice neat edge ready to go. And then I'm going to be doing, again, I'm wanting to do, well, let's try and do 1.5 inch pieces this time. I've got my edge lined up perfectly. I then put my 1.5 inch line there. I'm following my stars, so then it's 3, and it's 4.5, and then it's 6. And now I've got 4 little pieces of 1.5 inch strips ready to go. And those are perfectly accurate, perfectly sized, and absolutely brilliant. Now I'm going to do a little square. So I know that this edge is completely straight because I've just cut on it. So I'm going to line that up with my black line on the bottom of the ruler over here. Now, if you forget how to use the ruler, go onto the Creative Grids website or onto their YouTube page, and you'll easily be able to pull up all the videos that are affiliated with all of these rulers. And what I'm doing here, I've lined up the straight line, which I know I've just cut. I'm lining up my 0 line, and I think I'm going to be able to get a 3-inch square out of here. So I'm going to line up my 3 inches. I pull that fabric away, and I know that that one's my little edge. So I know that that side's cut, and that side's cut. Rotate the fabric around. I line up my black lines all the way around the fabric. And I'm just going into my 3-inch line over there. Pop that in. And there we go. I've got the perfect 3-inch square ready to go to use for anything that you need. This is a really great one to be able to keep in your bag if you're doing smaller projects. This is a fabulous one to do. Going up to 6.5-inch square there, and that's the Stripology Mini for £36.99 there. Now, the Creative Grids have got a series of fabulous rectangular rulers that we can all use for any of our quilting projects or sewing projects. The first one we're going to do is the 8.5-inch by 24.5-inch. This one, I absolutely love this ruler because most projects you'll be able to get away with the 6.5-inch ruler. However, there will be occasions where you will need to cut a 7.25 or a 7.5. You'll be able to then get this ruler, and you'll be able to then get all the additional pieces, the additional sizes that you need a little bit bigger than the 6.5. What you'll get here, you've got all the angles that you'll need. So you've got your 45-degree angle there, 45-degree there, 45-degree there, and the increments as you increase on this, you've got the halves, you've got the quarters, and you've got the 1/8 of an inch. So you'll see over here, you've got that white line there in the middle. That's your 1/2 inch. That one there is your 1/4 inch on either side of it. And then those black little lines in between are the 1/8 of an inches. So everything that you need to do size-wise is all included on the ruler. You'll be able to get everything you need. You've got these wonderful little white numbers going one way, and that then tells you that this is the top end of your ruler where you've got 1 and 1 marked out. And then you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through to 8. And at the end of the 8, you've got that extra 1/2 inch on the end. So this is the very top point of your ruler. And it's just such a fabulous tool to be able to have, to be able to use. And it's a great one also for width of fabric. So you saw I had this width of fabric piece at the very beginning. And what's great is that when you've got a ruler that's long enough to accommodate that width of fabric, you can then just very easily, you don't have to lift your ruler up or anything. You're just then cutting the whole width of fabric and being able to square everything up as you need to go. It's a really, really fabulous tool. And such a great price as well, because as you use the ruler, we use them for years and they last for ages and they're such great quality. And because you've got that non-slip grip dottage on the back, as you can see, this is the right way round. I'm trying to move the ruler. I'm almost knocking my threads over and it's not moving. On this side is what you would have as a normal ruler, which didn't have the non-slip grip dots, and you can see so much more easily this ruler moves around on your fabric. So for a safety aspect as well, having a Creative Grids ruler really is the best way to go on these. They are fabulous. So that's the 8.5-inch one. Now we've also got one which is the 24.5 by 6.5-inch size. This is the most traditional size that most people have, because it's just a little bit more easy to carry around, a little bit easier to move around with. It's exactly the same as the 8.5-inch. It's just got 2 inches smaller on this side. And that one is £23.99. But you've got all the details that you need, all the exact benefits of the 8.5-inch as you do on the 6.5-inch, just being 2 inches slightly narrower. Now we've got 3 sizes of squares for you today. We've got the first one being the 6.5-inch square. This is a really good size. This is the most common size most people buy. Reason being is that if you're doing any form of half square triangle, like you saw I was doing half square triangles in the block of the week earlier, you line your half square triangle up against this 45-degree seam line. You can square 2 sides. You then pick this up, rotate your fabric, line the 2 cut ends up to the edge that you need it to be, line your seam line up with the middle, and you square it off. If you're doing any form of cutting that you need to, it's very easy to do with this. If you're wanting to cut let's say we're going to do a 3-inch square, you've got your lovely piece of fabric there. you can see I'm now lining my 3 inches up here. We're going to do it 3 1/8, just so that you can see the lines. The great thing as well is as you do the corners and the sides, you've got that wonderful little triangle that meets the very edge of your fabric to make sure that you've got everything all lined up perfectly. And then all you're doing next is you then take this down and you've got that perfect 3 1/8 triangle there ready to go. It's just that perfect size and everything you need to do with it. And if you were going to line this up as a half square triangle, as I gently press down on the seam to create a seam, you've got that seam there ready to go. All you do is you then take that central black line, you line that up against the seam, and you can square off your half square triangle as you go through. This is such a great ruler to have. It's a really, really common one to buy, and it's fabulous. And for $14.99, such a great price on it. Love those. And remember, you've got all the QR codes on all of the rulers as well, and the instructions that come with the rulers. So make sure you zap those QR codes and you can go and have a little look at the videos that come with it. We've also got the 8.5 inch ruler as well. This is such a good one. I personally prefer the 8.5 inch one, simply because there are times when you will want to cut something a little bit bigger. Having that extra 2 inches does make things a lot more comfortable when you're doing your sewing, because sometimes you will need to cut to 6 3/4. So what you're doing is you're then moving your ruler along 1/4 inch, and you do not get that quite, it's not quite as accurate as having this slightly longer ruler. So this is a definite must for me. I've got this one and I think this is the best size to get. Comfortably fits into all of your bags. You can take it anywhere you like. And again, you've got that Creative Grid non-slip grip dots. That being the way it would be if you didn't have the slip dots. And then you can see on the studio lights there, you've got those beautiful dots there that then help support your fabric. And as you're going along, it doesn't move anywhere near as much. And you can see I've got all my Tula wobbling in the corner over there. That's the 8.5 inch one. That's $16.99 as well. But we have also got, if I can do this without it falling, we've got the Beast. This is the biggest square that I have ever been able to find. I have one of these and it is so, so brilliant. This is so huge. It is 20.5 inches. It's got exactly the same as the 6.5 and the 8.5. You can see these non-slip grippage dots all the way along. This you definitely do want to have, that wonderful gripping, because if you're cutting a 17.5 or an 18.5 inch square, you want to make sure that this is going to be completely secure when you put your hand down. As you're cutting here, you want to make sure that this isn't going to move in any way. The other fabulous thing about this ruler is you'll see that if you are doing 20.5 inch squares, you can take your fabric and line everything up. We've got this almost bullseye in the middle of your ruler there, that little white circle. That will be the exact center point of a 20.5 inch square. So all you would do is, if this is, it's not 20.5 inches, but if this was 20.5 inches, you would fold your fabric in half, and this is the block that you finished. You would fold that in half, give that a little finger press as you go. And then you would fold this in half again. Would have helped if I'd cut that into a square first. Line that up against there. And you can now see I've finger pressed that little cross into the middle. You can see I've finger marked that little cross there. And all you would be doing is leaving that cross in the middle. You would find your little center circle. And because you've got the central circle just here, you then position that over where the central section is. And because you've pressed the 4 corners, once you've got that all lined down, you can then keep your hands wholly in the middle, and you can then trim this side, and you can trim this side. And because everything is nice and stable under your ruler, you've got that wonderful piece of fabric perfectly lined up. If this was a 20.5 inch square, you then do that on the sides, and then all you would do then is rotate this round. You would centralize that circle in the middle again. These two are already lined up on the side, and then you would trim the corners at the side. So it's exactly the same as the 6.5 and the 8.5 inch square, just on a much bigger scale, and it's a scale that a lot of people would really use. It's one of these rulers that you do buy once and you'll have it for years, because there aren't that many squares you'd cut up. But I promise you, when you get to the point of wanting to cut a 20.5-inch square, you are going to be missing one of these. This is $49.99 today, and again, all the Creative Grids rulers come with this wonderful QR code. Make sure you scan that so you can get the video about it. Look for lots of tips on it online. And also just type the name of your ruler in on YouTube. You'll find lots of different classes and tuition from different people who've bought the ruler on how they think the ruler works best for them as well. So that's a nice little tip to be able to have. Now this is our Tula Pink. Now I adore Tula Pink. This, every time this comes on air, it sells out so quickly. This is back on air today. Am I opening? This is, I just adore Tula Pink. I love her fabrics, her designs, every single thing about them. They are so great. This design roll, you're getting 40 strips, 2.5 inches. Each of these designs are so unique and so incredible. I'm now going to open these up. Now this is my favorite section. Whenever I get a design roll, this is my favorite bit. You get to take that off, and you get to take that elastic band off. But now, I don't know about you, I always make sure I do it so that the piece that hasn't come loose is there. Take my little and then I flop these there. And there we go. Now, I adore jelly rolls or design rolls. I absolutely love them. I adore these because this way you're able to get a number of different sections of all of the design, of all of the different colorways. And what we'll do now is show you some of these incredible designs by Tula Pink. This is the homemade collection. And some of them you're getting 2 of, some of them you're getting 1 of. Like this one you're getting 2 of. And what this is this is all of Tula Pink's hardware and all the things that she makes as a product of hardware. This is actually a pair of scissors, and this one you only get 1 of, unfortunately. And then you get these wonderful little green safety pins, and then you get the cotton reels. So this one here, you'll see you've got that pair of scissors. That's the edge of the pair of scissors going along. And again, you've got that wonderful detail where you've got that hand with that beautiful heart. And again, over here, you've got that hand with that gorgeous heart. It's that tiny little level of detail that Tula puts into her designs that is so incredible. Again, you've got the same colorway, same design, but in a different colorway, again with the hands holding the hearts down. And here you've got like almost this tape measure weaving its way through these wonderful fleur-de-lis through there. It's fabulous. Again, all of Tula Pink's hardware in a different colorway. This one is really sweet as well. You've got graph paper. So that's what your normal graph paper or your ruler would look like. But you've got these wonderful little details in a beautiful teal color here. That one is a button. That one's a pair of scissors. That one's a heart. Those are crossed needles. That's a little sewing machine. That's a safety pin. You've got these wonderful little details on there. Now, I know many people do struggle. What would you do with a jelly roll or a design roll? How would you use them? I absolutely adore using these because when you sew these edge to edge, so we'll do the maths here, you're going to get, if you did we did a design roll race back in April, where you take a design roll like this, sew the short ends, you sew those all together, and then once you've got your 1600-inch piece of fabric, you take the 2 short ends that aren't sewn together, you put those right sides together, and you make your 1600 inches 800 inches. Then you cut the edge off and then make your 800 inches, fold it in half, sew down there, you've got 400 inches. And you keep doing that until you've got a quilt that's roughly 50 inches by 60 inches. So you get a lot of fabric in this. And the great thing about being able to do this is every single design of this design is in here, whether you're getting 1 or 2 of them. And the detailing on Tula's designs here, you can just see that elegant little hand with that beautiful heart and that pink being the same pink as the fabric before it. It's just a very cleverly designed project, a fabric range, this. And I personally adore jelly rolls and design rolls. I think they're brilliant. It's a nice way of being able to use your different projects and do different things. And there are so many ideas of how to make, or what to make out of them out there. And if you're wanting to make bags as well, it's really good to be able to sew 5 or 6 of these favourite pieces of yours into a strip set, and you can then use those for the outside of a tote bag as well. Because if you just use the outside, you've got 20 inches roughly with the seams sewn in, doing about 10 inches, 15 inches that way. And you can see some of these colours are so vibrant and they work so differently, like the blue and the grey, they work so differently together, but they're so amazing. Now remember, this is brand new, back in stock now. How much did you say was gone? 20% of the stock of this is gone already. I'm not surprised. Tula Pink handmade range. This is the 40-piece, 2.5 inch 40-piece design roll strip. And unfortunately, once you've undone them, you can never get them back together again. But it is such a beautiful, beautiful colorway. I personally have made several projects using these Tula Pink design rolls, and I love them. I think they're fabulous. So congratulations if you managed to get one. They're brand new, back in stock today. And please, once you've made something, do share on the Facebook page what you've made. We love seeing what you've done. Next, we're going to do this fabulous scrap, the Sensational Quilts for Scrap Lovers book. I absolutely adore this book. Judy Gotha has made something truly special with this. She's taken some really amazing designs, but made sure that you're using only your scraps. I do think this is one of my favourite blocks that I've seen, favourite quilts I've seen in a book for a long while. It's called the Frontal Boundaries. I also like the Precious Metals, but I do think that one is my favourite block, the favourite quilt in this project book. Great thing is it tells you how to sort your scraps out. It tells you the different sizes of what you should cut your squares, what's the most user-friendly size to cut everything to, because a lot of us do have a huge amount of scraps and we're not quite sure what to do with them. We don't want to waste them or throw them away, but equally we want to use them and have them in pieces and sizes that are useful, that we're going to be able to do. So this is a great book to be able to do this, and it also warns you about using odd shapes and bias edges, because obviously fabric that's biased, you want to make sure you're storing that so that the fabric can be used again. And there's so many different ways. Now, the one thing I do love about this book is it gives you a scrap organization tree, and it gives you the colors and how best to organize all of your color theories, your color wheel, and all of your scraps together in order to make sure that your scraps are sorted in the right way to make your projects a lot easier. And that then translates into color wheels here in projects and how to then move things around throughout your project. Then also this is the dreaded curved seam, which most people really struggle with. This is a nice way of being able to do this as well. Lovely, lovely way of, and it gives you these really good instructions on how best to do this. Then you get onto the quilts. Now this one is my favorite quilt in this book. I think it's got such a bold colorage in here. Really, really special, and you'll be able to use your scraps in different ways. You've got all the cutting plans on how you need to, what you need to cut out, how many squares you need to do, how many sizes, or what the different sizes are. And it also tells you roughly how much fabric you're going to need for each project. And if you didn't want to use scraps and you wanted to use one specific colorway, you can do that. With these, you can't, I'm not sure you could use a jelly roll or a design roll because some of these pieces are 5.5 inches. But it is definitely something you could do maybe with a layer cake. Specifically this project you could do with a layer cake. And the great thing is it then shows you how to make all of these blocks and do the different designs and different blocks that you need. So you can see you've got your normal square, you've got your half square triangle. That's not a quarter square triangle, I'm going to call it a triple square triangle. And it's just a nice way of being able to show you how you put the quilt together and how best to be able to then show your fabrics in the best possible way. And this quilt, as far as here it is, this quilt was actually designed from a frontal system of a storm approaching North America, which I think is a really lovely way to look at a storm and being able to look at something quite unique in a really, really special way. And then it gives you the layout of how to lay the quilt out, and because you're doing it on point, it's just a really interesting way of being able to sew these together. And there's a really great, there's lots of different projects in here to do as well. Such a great book to be able to look through, and a really lovely find if you've got scraps that you want to do that. It's $23.99 today. Now, every single week, myself, Debbie and Vicky are very, very lucky. We get to scour the Facebook fans page for our favourite makes of the week. And this week, we were really, really struggling to find people to win, only because there's so much choice. So this week, Makes of the Week's winners are going to be lucky enough to win free postage and packaging on their next order with Sewing Street. All you need to do is drop us a line on the Sewing Street TV page. You'll see there's a little inbox button there, or message button. Drop us a message and we'll be able to email you the code. And the lucky winners for this week are Jan Hill, congratulations. Sandy Roberts, congratulations. And Alina Jaffaporan, congratulations. I do hope I got your surname right there, Alina. The makes for this week are, let's see what they look like. We've got Alina Jaffaporan. Poran, I'm so sorry. Apologies. You've got Alina there. That's the beautiful piece there by Jane Greenoff. And then we've got Jan Hill with My Gorgeous Block of the Week. Congratulations with that, Jan. That's a beautiful make there. And then last but not least, we've got Sandy Roberts with that beautiful little outfit there. So adorable. Congratulations, all three of you. Really worthy winners. And don't forget to drop everybody else, drop the TV page a message, the Sewing Street TV page a message to get your free P&P on your next order. Congratulations. Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was really apologies. Sorry. Next, we've got Susan Briscoe's 350 plus quilting tips, techniques, and trade secrets. Oh my goodness. So this book is, if you are interested in getting this book, you do need to hurry up. So do remember, you need to check out as you go. We have less than 20 of these books left now. So if you do want one, please pop it in your basket, check out. We don't want you to miss out on all of these. This book is $12.99 today, and it's got every single aspect of quilting in here, going down to your safety pins, your needles, your scissors, exactly what you may need for hand sewing. What you need is an ironing board, your rotary cutters, your cutting mats, the mini irons, every single quilting gadget, tool, choosing your fabrics, showing you how to use lace and net, going through every single different aspect you could possibly want to go through, but even down to tea dyeing, microwave dyeing, indigo dyeing, designing traditional blocks. You can get on-point designs as well here, where you've got blocks that are a little bit on point. These are really, really special, this book, and loads of different ways of doing it. Also doing contemporary quilting with different colorways as well. And you can see all these wonderful different shapes and sizes that you can cut out. And it tells you as well how to cut out templates with cardboard, and being able to then remember you've got your 1/4 inch seam to go around there, or if your cardboard already includes your 1/4 inch. How to do a stack and whack. This is one of the methods to do, is a stack and whack. It's a lovely little book, being able to show you everything that you could possibly do. Seminal quilting and string patchwork. You just get lost in it. It's brilliant. Shows you how to do foundation paper piecing as well. Now, if I'm not mistaken, all the way through this book, you can see all this Hawaiian quilting, all the different embellishment ideas, hand quilting. If you've made a sashing problem, all the way through, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are 405 different tips here, going all the way down to hanging your quilt, caring for vintage quilts. It even tells you how to send in a quilt for an exhibition, how to make the hanging sleeve. It also then shows you how to send a quilt in and collecting a quilt at the end of a show. And also when you're dealing with larger quilts, how best to roll them as well. Because I know there are different ways to completely, to fold quilts and deal with them. This is a really great book to be able to teach everybody everything you want to know about quilting. And it's 4p a tip, less than 4p a tip. Come on, that's a great price. $12.99 of this. Before I started showing you the book, there were less than 20 of these. So please, if you have got it in your basket, make sure you check out. We don't want you missing out on this as you go. So now I am, every time I open this, I just kind of want to go like this. This is the most beautiful, beautiful combination of colors here. This is the Tula Pink Sunrise Aurifil collection. This is the most fabulous collection we've got of Aurifil threads, and I know that's a personal opinion. These are just so beautiful and so vibrant. These colours are spectacular. So you're getting 20 different colours. They're all 100% cotton, and these threads, they are so beautiful. They are so pretty to look at, and they feel incredible. And they're kiddie-proofed. They are kiddie-proofed. I can't get this open. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to open it, but I can't. So you're getting 100 meters of the 100% Aurifil of this. You've got all these incredible colors in here. You've got these gorgeous blues, these beautiful mauves and purples and lavenders and pinks. Now, anybody who hasn't actually used any of Tula's fabrics before, if I lay this out here and then I take the Tula design roll, which obviously is not included in this, but it gives you an idea of the colors. It just gives you a beautiful idea of colors on how her colorways work so beautifully with this Aurifil. If I do that, and then if I put this green here, which look, it's identical, you can then put all these beautiful colors in to the quilt project. So this is one of the things that I do think it's, if you are going to be doing, Tula works with a lot of hand-pieced projects. She does a lot of EPP and projects like that. And what I love about this collection by Aurifil, the Tula Sunrise, is she does have a sunrise quilt pattern, which is all hand-pieced, and that was used with her Monkey Wrench collection. And the great thing about this colorway is that every single fabric that you use in that Monkey Wrench collection will work so perfectly with these threads. So if you're doing some English paper piecing and you're putting together some of the oranges that she does with some of the bananas, you can use this beautiful orange thread and it'll work perfectly. But what she's been very clever and very mindful of is that all the colors that she uses in all of her collections, the Monkey Wrench collection previously and the handmade collection here, you can see how beautifully and how perfectly all of the colors are the same through each selection, each collection. So it's a lovely, lovely way of being able to have all of these colors to be able to do this. And the great thing is, sorry, these are actually 200 meters each. I said there were 100, they're 200 meters each. Apologies for that. These are just the most perfect way, and especially if you're doing hand quilting, being able to get that perfect color when you're piecing something so perfectly together, being able to get the right color thread to go with the fabric, it's just such a special way of doing it. And these colors are just exceptional. Comes in a beautiful little presentation box where you've got your T and you've got your P. And this is one of those beautiful gifts that people are always saying, oh, what can I get you for Christmas? Well, there you go. A little bit of Tula Aurifil, can't go wrong with that. Anybody who's used Aurifil before knows that they use 100% cotton. All the thread is made and produced in Milan in Italy. Auriful is an incredible brand of thread, and the quality is absolutely exceptional. If you're using this is 50 weight thread, so you can use this for hand quilting. You can use it for piecing on your machine. You can use it for really dense embroidery, and also for normal quilting. It's a perfect thread. It is very strong, very robust, and the great thing is, given it's 100% cotton, when you're using 100% cotton fabric, it works very, very well together. So if there's any movement with the fabric, they play with each other so perfectly, and it's just the most gorgeous way of gorgeous colorway as well. £66.99. How much did you say that worked out to per spool? £3. £3.30 a spool there for 200 meters of 100% cotton Auriful there in these gorgeous Tula colors there. I do hope you enjoy those when you get them. Now, if you'd like a slightly smaller Tula print collection, but a little bit more interesting, because these are the variegated threads by Tula, these are just exceptionally beautiful. Also 50 weight, also 200 meters of each one, and all of these different designs and colors work perfectly with her color combinations that she uses. I'm going to bring back my design roll from the previous collection. If I just put that one there, but look at these colors, they're just so exceptionally beautiful. And if I roll those down, oops, got my little grey one running away there. And you can see just on this beautiful teal colorway there, how beautifully these fabrics work together. If I pop that orange in, you can see again, virtually every one of those colors is going to work perfectly in there. When I pop that purpley one there with that teal, doesn't that just scream out at you wanting to be able to use? It's just a really good way, and the great thing about these is if you are wanting to do any form of quilting with it, look at that. You can see this one would work so beautifully with that as well. And this is actually not a purple, it's a bright turquoise and a red, but it works so perfectly on there. I love it. And the great thing with Tula is her colours are so vivid and so vibrant. And I do find myself, whatever project I'm doing, I'm always thinking about the quilting of it. I'm always thinking about how I'm going to finish it off and how I'm going to embellish that. And this is a great way of being able to then think about how you're going to use, if you're doing your quilting, you've got these wonderful variegated threads to be able to then go over your project and quilt with it. And because it's 50 weight, this is exceptionally good as well for embroidery designs, doing different embroidery designs on here as well. Really, really fabulous quality. Each one of these is 200 meters, and they're so, so lovely. Look at those colours. I get so excited every time I see these. Now, if you are going to spend the money to get this gorgeous Tula design roll, you might want to consider getting the threads as well. It's just a nice way of being able to finish off your project and be able to make sure that you've got that synergy, not only of the thread, but also of the design roll. The design roll is being incredibly popular this morning, so I'm going to show you this again. What I'll do, I'll just put these out as I go. Now this design roll, it is £34.99. You're getting just over 2.5 meters of fabric in there. This is working out at 87p per strip, I'm hearing. And the great thing is because you're getting just under 2.5 meters of fabric with this, you're then able to work that out at £34.99 divided by 2.5 meters. You're not paying a huge amount of money per meter for the fabric. And the great thing is you're getting a bit of every single piece. It's not just 2.5 meters of the same piece of fabric, because you've got that wonderful all the different designs in it. And I have to say, there are so many in here, I never quite know which one my favorite is. Sorry, I'm leaning into your shot there. And the great thing is, the more I go into the roll and you can see all these different designs coming out, you can see just how well they all go together. Nothing sort of glares and stands out saying, oh, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. This is a really, and look at those two designs next to each other there, how different they are, but they're exactly the same design, just in a different colorway. And that bottom teal is the same color as the background of that teal. It's a really beautiful, beautifully designed collection, this. It's the handmade collection by Tula Pink. I love these. And it's a great way of getting introduced to Tula Pink because Tula is an absolutely incredible personality. She's got the most fantastic social media pages as well. So it's a case of when you do make something, she's very, very hot on her Instagram as well. And every time somebody's made something out of her products that she is able to see, she then is, she comments on it or shares it. And she loves being able to see what everybody's made out of her products and her designs. And they're just so interesting. And I just, again, this is a really good reflection of how different it looks with the different colorways. It's just in the fabric as you go along, you can see that one there and that one exactly the same, but just so different with the background color. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful designed collection, this. And for £34.99 for that, just over 50% of the stock of this has gone already. I'm not surprised. I've got about 12 of these already because I've got so many different projects of things that I want to make with them. I can't wait to do them all. So that is a lovely, lovely product there. Now, another little product that I love having, now you would have seen that Wendy Orlando, she uses one of these. She's got it in a different colorway. This is a 4-in-1 combination cutting mat ironing board. And what you've got here is, if I start with this side, this is an ironing board over here. I got it the wrong way around, apologies. This is a lovely little ironing board here. And then if we flip this round, you've got a self-healing cutting mat. You've got a mini little design wall here where you can put little pieces of fabric as you go. And then you've got a lovely piece of sandpaper. And if you are wanting to mark out a project, I'm just trying to get a little piece of fabric over here. If you are wanting to mark out a template or a project, the great thing about having this little piece of sandpaper is by putting that down, let's say we were wanting to mark out a, sorry, oh, there we go, my ruler. Let's just say you're wanting to mark out a little section here. You just take your chalk pen or your pen or whatever you're needing to do, and you can mark out your piece and your fabric won't move as you're doing that. So it's a great way of being able to mark out your fabric with that wonderful sandpapery feel at the background, and you can easily then do that on here without your fabric moving. And then you just take that away and use it as you want to. This is a nice little design board effect as well. So if you're going to a workshop or anything, you want to just test a block as to see if that worked, you can just put your little pieces of fabric along there, hold that down, and there we go. You just leave it across the room. Oh, every time I do that, it does that, right? So there we go. There we go. And you just put that across, go and stand across the room and see if that works for you. Come back and it's already laid out. It's a great way of doing a little mini design board. And it's such a good size because it's a little bit bigger than an A4. So this would fit into any one of your sewing bags or any one of your project bags. But also it's a really nice thing to be able to have on your sideboard. If you're doing your sewing, this is a great way to have just a little ironing pressing mat. If you're just doing small projects next to your machine, saves you setting the ironing board up, saves you getting up and doing all of that. You've got a wonderful little pressing mat here as well. If you need it to be bigger, you've got the 2, so that would work then for the 2. You can easily do that as well. The size on this is coming in at 19.5 by 12 inches when it's open up like that. And it's a really good size. It's a little bit bigger than A4, so that's 9.5 by just under 12. So it's a really, really good size. And it's a lovely, pretty item as well. Which one? Now, I am so excited that we've got this back in stock. This is the most stunning, stunning collection of threads from Gutermann. Now, Gutermann do 100% polyester thread. Now, personally, I prefer 100% polyester thread. I just find the polyester works better for piecing. When I'm pressing it, I find the polyester then tightens the seam. Personally, I prefer polyester. I think the quality of Gutermann is exceptional. You do not have that fluffiness when you go through, which you have with some less expensive threads. You don't have that fluffiness, which means your machine stays healthier for longer. You're not having to clean that out quite as often. And the colours in this, so this little combination, you're getting this in a nice little, they're calling it a nostalgic tin. There are 48 threads in there, and just look at that. Is that not the most gorgeous collection of colours in one little thread box? Each one of these threads is 50 weight. Every single one of them is 100% polyester. They've got the most beautiful, beautiful threads, gorgeous, gorgeous colours, And you can just see there, that is the most perfect little beginner tin for anybody who's just starting. Every colour you would need is in here. It's very, very hard to find a colour here that's not in there. How much did you say it was a thread? So this is working out to £1.25 a thread, but not only are you getting all of these amazing threads, if you did get this, and let's say you use that blue, and you finish with that blue, and you finish with that purple, and you're all ready to go, and you're ready to put in, you can just top them up. So even when you finish them and you've used that thread, you can then just start topping up and putting all the colours that you usually use, or you then replace this as you go along, because you've got this fabulous little tin ready to go and ready to store it in. It's a really nice little thin tin, and it's just such a nice size as well. It's a really lovely, lovely item. I think this is great for gifts, really wonderful for Christmas presents as well, because especially people who are starting out or people who've been quilting for years, you always need thread. It doesn't matter what sort of crafting you do with regards to sewing, you will always need thread, and you will always need really good quality thread as well. This is a fantastic polyester thread as well, 50 weight, 100 meters on each one, so you're getting 4,800 meters of thread in this with the fabulous tin, and it's just exceptional. I really, really love this, and that's £59.99. I love these. Now, one other product that every single person needs when they are doing their quilting journey is the rotating cutting mat. Now, I always joke about this whenever I do it, and I do that every single time. It's a really nice way to show what this actual cutting mat is. So let's say, for example, I now want to cut out. I've just drawn that line out over there. I now want to cut that out for a project. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Creative Grids ruler, and now I'm going to leave 1/4 of an inch. So I want to add 1/4 of an inch onto this. So I now line my 1/4 of an inch up with that. Now you can see that's a really odd angle, but I'm always wanting to make sure I'm cutting away from myself. And the great thing is here, because I've got the rotating cutting mat, it doesn't matter what angle I have to put this on, you've always got that wonderful stability of the central section being on the white section, so you can easily go through and cut out that triangle however you need to do it. And you can see now I've got that perfect triangle ready to go. And you haven't had to move around the table, you haven't had to cut towards yourself, which is incredibly unsafe. Don't do it. All you do is you can just go through and you can cut out as many different shapes as you want to get the angle that you want. And you just move it around as you need to, and you're always cutting away from you, and you haven't had to pick the fabric up, you haven't had to do anything particular that's different. And then you've got that really uniquely cut piece there in the middle, which you may potentially want to do. But all these little pieces then, everything's been cut away from you. It's all completely safe, and you don't need to worry about harming yourself in any way. You've got a wonderful little product there. Pencils? So you've seen me using this wonderful big cutting mat. You saw with the Stripology ruler, it works incredibly well. This one is 22.5 inch. Oh, sorry, where's my piece of fabric? There we go. This is a half width of fabric. You can see that was our width of fabric. What I love about this cutting mat is it is just long enough to be able to go through and cut the full width of fabric. This is 22 inches in measured size this way, and it is 34 inches this way. So it's a great, great mat to be able to cut all these wonderful sizes on. And because you've got this really extra bit here, when you are cutting width of fabric, you're not having to get to this point, drag your fabric down and then carry on cutting, which is always going to end up with a bit of a squiggly line. This is a great mat to use, self-healing completely, so it doesn't matter how many times you cut onto it, it will always heal up. This has got the imperial side over here, we've got the metric side on the other side here. It's got a sewing machine on it at the moment, so you can see it's got the metric side over there. It is very bendable. You saw it bends there, but please, when you do store it, it does need to be stored flat. If you haven't got a flat area to put it on, under your bed, under your sofa, there's always that little slot under there. pop it under your sofa there. Really nice way of doing it. You've got all the angles here, as you saw earlier with me using the Stripology ruler. You can cut your 60s, 45s and 30 degrees on here. You've got your measurements. You've got left and right-handed, so you can see you've got the measurements in circles or without circles, so that's an easy way of you being able to check where you are on doing that. Lovely, lovely mat. So, what is coming up tomorrow? Who's on tomorrow? Is it Vicky or is it Debbie? I think it's Vicky tomorrow. So we've got the Miss Tunic and Caftan with Faye Clements, Fabulous Fabrics and Stash Builders at 9 o'clock, Dressmaking Techniques and with Faye Clements at 10, and then Love Embroidery at 11. Beds in a and Bugs in a Bag from Wendy Orlando this morning will be repeated tomorrow. I'm hoping they'll be able to get some stock in for that because we sold out of all that today. Really looking forward to that. Now remember, as you're going through today, make sure you check out everything you've got in your basket. Check out as you go. We're going to have a repeat in the next hour. Do you know what it is? It was the 8 o'clock from yesterday's show will be repeated at 12 o'clock. So enjoy that. I personally just want to thank everybody for all of your love and support over the last 6 months. It's been an incredible journey. I have loved being part of this. It's been exceptional. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Happy sewing, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.